almost 1,000 games difference in experience between the 22 for Brisbane and their counterparts there, Melbourne. Well, a short time ago, Anthony Mithen had the opportunity to speak to the Demons coach, Neil Danaher.
Well, thanks for joining us, Neil. It's been an emotional week for the Melbourne Football Club with David Schwartz. How have the boys reacted to that?
Yeah, look, that was dealt with, I think, dealt very well by David and the club, and our supporters know exactly what's going on, and we move on. Move on without the Ox, but I guess he'll be with us in spirit till the end of the year, and we bring in young Paul Wheatley, and we need to start look at blokes like Brad Miller and Daniel Breeze and these sort of fellas. So we think we've got some good young players who'll step up for us.
They've got to step up today in this heat too. It's quite warm down here, boundary side, isn't it?
Beautiful, mate. Beautiful.
Not a problem?
I don't know what it's like down in Melbourne, but there's probably a few people on the Cats going, well, it's not looking too bad.
That's right. And there is some good news for you because Michael Boss out of the Brisbane side.
Yeah, look, he's always a handy one not to have to try and match up and think about. So, being their skipper, he's probably only a week away. That's a very handy one for us.
How do you see your form at this stage of the season?
Look, coming into the break, it was probably just dipping off, but we had a great win over Adelaide. We had a very poor second quarter last week. It probably cost us a game. We finished the game strongly, and we're hoping that sort of form will get us going again today.
Should be a great contest. Good luck, Neil.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks to Neil Danaher then. We'll speak to Mitho shortly. Melbourne, this is the team they've named. They're still a little bit brittle down back. Yeah, they are. There's a couple of holes there, but Bizzle has done a pretty good job, as has Craig Ellis. Job for young Lamb. But Wheatley coming in is a good inclusion, and Neil Danaher doing his best for Queensland tourism. I think it's rightly pointed out that it is a mindset. You go into this match with so many young running players like Ward and Duze and Johnson. Bruce is another one. Robertson can also run. Brad Green as well. They've got the side here, I think, that can push the midfield for the Brisbane Lions, and they've just got to get the ball from the centre. And Jeff White was in outstanding form last week. Emphasised once again how much an improved player he is. A poor year last year. He had a lot of injuries, but last week, Dermot, he was on fire. Absolutely. He was the catalyst for the 5-goal turnaround. 44 points down at three-quarter time. Only lost by 12. Look at the hit-outs compared to his counterparts. They're 15-2. The goals, 6-1. They outscored them by 5, but inside 50s, 20-5 there. He just dominated. Yeah, and I guess his backup is Darren Jolly. Here he is practising just before the match. I suspect he's got a little bit to do, and that's why he was practising. He was jumping forward rather than jumping up, and just about took out up the Melbourne coaching squad. Alistair Lynch, a fine veteran of the game. Rumours suggesting he was going to give it away at the end of the year, but I think he put paid to those, and looking at the lineup, he looks pretty comfortable there at centre-half forward. He'll play out of the goal square more than likely, but Ashley McGrath has come in, a late change. Michael Voss is out, as you heard. And looking at this side, we know he can get better with the inclusion of Voss and Lappin, but there are very few holes in it, Dermot. I don't think there's any holes at all, and one bloke who hasn't let himself down is this fella, Jason Ackermanis. He keeps on keeping on, and that left foot, it's the best non-dominant foot in the comp. It was a late, a mid-season try for goal of the year. We know he's been in the headlines. In fact, he's made as many headlines as you did in your career, Dermot, and that is saying something. But comparing this year to last, I think except for his slow start, which has hurt his disposal average, he is right up there. Absolutely. Look, just a little bit down on that. Still, he's doubled his goal tally, 13-26, but his inside 50 takes is exactly the same. So you'd just assume he's not playing deep inside 50, playing just forward to the centre, and he is on fire. Well, we're all set for the first bounce on the other side of the break. This is Sunday AFL. Welcome back to the GABBA. Justin Lepich getting the call up to the captaincy post and wins the toss, and he'll kick to the left-hand side of the screen. Well, it's 22 degrees down there, and I'm sure Anthony Mithen will have the factor 35 on.
Absolutely, Dermot. It is warm and pretty still conditions too. There wouldn't be a breeze favouring either end. Michael Voss, I spoke to Lee Matthews before the game, very tempted to pick him. He'll sit behind him in the coach's box. He was super tempted to pick him, just no power in his kicking, and that's why he's out.
Umpire Michael Avon to do the duties, and Dennis Cometti here in the commentary box.
Thanks, Derm. Great bounce too. McDonald goes up and wins it down. Chance for Bruce, being held by one arm. Powers flips a hand pass away. This is Scott. Brad Scott kicks inside the 50. And the good mark is taken by Bizzle.
Couple of early matchup, Dennis. Brad Scott is playing on Uze on one of the wings, and Travis Johnson and Ashcroft are going head-to-head.
White towards the wing. Woden in the shade. Beautiful day in Brisbane. Half volley for Ellis. Gathers it pretty well on the wing, confronted by Johnson. Is that holding the ball? Yes, it is.
Great start by Chris Johnson. A really good tackle. Craig Ellis, you've just got to do better than that. You're not going to get around a talented player like Chris Johnson. He just kept his eyes on his hips and he barreled him magnificently. Didn't sell it, didn't take the dummy.
Shattuck, forward of the wing, probing kick inside the 50. Down towards Lynch, goes back, pursuing this ball towards the behind post, straightens up and kicks the opening goal.
Well, a costly mistake on the centre wing by Craig Ellis has resulted in a very early start of the goal to Brisbane, and that's exactly what you don't want if you're a Demon player or a Demon supporter. You want to keep in the groove early, and Craig Ellis just had to go along the boundary line either by foot or by hand and get the ball moving, because this side hurts you like no other side. They've got tremendous firepower, and Johnson got the ball in quickly, and Lynch turned his owner player around and kicked an easy one.
33rd goal for Big
Lynchy for the year against Chris Lamb on that occasion.
Has a very good record too against Melbourne. 17 goals in the last 3 games. Rucks go at it. Power hurriedly out of the middle again. Pike goes back this time. Knocked in front. Did Ackermanis have the footy? The umpire says not. Umpire Goalspink.
There is a real danger here, and they're going to put their second goal on the board here. Brisbane are brilliant at converting almost from the next possession a shot on goal after a direct clearance out of the middle. They get such a good result from the centre bounce clearances.
Ackermanis from 45.
Wheatley.
Gun barrel strike.
Well, it's just a start that Lee Matthews would have been after. It's a talented side, it's a champion side, and away they go. Now Melbourne just have to hold stock here, tighten up, get some ball inside their forward 50, tighten up, go man to man, and get themselves on the scoreboard. But as you rightly pointed out, Dermot, a quick take out of the middle, and they hurt you every time. Good start for the Brisbane Lions, 2 quick goals, Melbourne yet to score.
Umpires this afternoon win. Avon and Goalspink. Bounce from umpire Avon. High was White. Knocks it down towards half forward. Loose ball picked up by Vardy. It's going to be an free kick. It'll go to Headland this time. Pushed in the back. Advantage won't be paid. Power taking off. It has to come back. Headland so good last week. Squares the ball towards the outer side. Ashcroft meters in the clear just forward of right half back. And the bright sunshine goes down towards right half forward. The mark is held out there by Pike.
Playing as a half forward today, Pike, on Craig Ellis.
Prods it down towards the pocket. Bradshaw. Gee, they look sharp, don't they? Bradshaw hard against the boundary line, wasting no time. Sets it up. Close to the goal line. Lynch pushed him back again. Well, that help forward. Here he is again. Close to the boundary line. Keeps it alive. Whelan's in there. McDonald. And across the line it goes. He's got that move like a wrestler's finishing hold, hasn't he, Alistair Lynch? Only it's a push in the back or a nudge.
Absolutely. Nathan Brown, he's a real go-to man for the Demons out of defence, taking a lot of uncontested marks.
As if on cue, here he is. Brown gets away. Nicely worked. Hard against the boundary line. Needs to be very careful. Feeds it back. McDonald's got it now. Has some support. Leoncelli. Oh, well played. The arm came in from Shattuck. Ackermanis hard against the boundary line. Interesting kick. Shattuck close to the boundary line and still pulls it back and kicks a very good goal. Reward for hard work.
Only the 5th goal of his career, and he's playing in his 7th match. He's actually come on this year, even though he's only played 7 matches. He was very good last week, found a fair bit of the ball. Nathan Brown was fantastic. He took on a few just to try and get into a space, but he went 1 tackler too many. You don't take on Jason Ackermanis. He's too quick by foot. He'll gobble you up, and he's actually increased. We saw his stats before the game, Jared. Ackermanis has actually gone from averaging 2 tackles to 4.5 per game this season, so he's laying more of the man sticking them.
It's a great story following his career. I think he was first selected as an All-Australian as a back pocket. That's where he first made his name, and now he's killing them up in the forward line. Very talented.
McDonald knocked it down. Wide of the congestion. Well worked, Leoncelli. kicks inside the 50. Neitz tries to knock it to Green. He's over the footy. Plenty of company. Picked up by Scott. Touched off the boot. Black was up. Knocks it wide. It is still Neitz cleverly. Leoncelli with some time. Centres the ball. Low and hard. Johnstone. Robbed by Ashcroft. Taken by Uze. Down towards full forward. Leopard's looking for a free kick. Nothing doing. And the first score of the game for Melbourne. We've got the start from hell so far.
Yeah, one more goal, Dennis, and it really is crisis time for the Demons. 3 goals, you can pick that back, but if you get out to 4 and 5, it's, the game's almost gone before it even begins.
Bad luck there for Peter Vardy. Was in the right spot, almost the mark, out of bounds. Boundary throw in the pocket. There's the bench for the Lions. McGrath in for Voss. The breeze not a factor. Plenty of space right side here. Michael thumps it forward, taken by White. Interesting he didn't go for that boundary throw in. Notting, clever hand pass, look out. Power, Uze was kind. Scott back towards the middle, slipping over was Black. This is Ward, runs to 50, needs a straight kick, it's off to the right, I fancy. Another behind, but suddenly Melbourne looking better.
Let's have a look at the way the Brisbane Lions set up. Predominantly, they go pretty far out, and as we look down the ground to the left, they go normally long to the left, which means he'll make a liar of me here, John, and he'll go to the right as we see most of the players swing out that way.
Not once this season have they kicked to themselves, Brisbane, bringing the ball in. In the pocket, Michael drives it around the outer side. Plenty of Melbourne big men. Too many big men. Spoiled at that time. Jolly went after it. Hedlund did brilliantly. Got his arms free. Power into space. Tracking it on the outer side. Notting. Well, they stay off him. He backs away. Kicks it down towards half forward. In from the side. The leap from Black. McDonald almost went after it. Where Woden's on the ground. Held to him. That's what the umpire thinks, and we'll have a ball up. There's the time remaining till quarter time. Brisbane with the opening 3 goals. The last 2 scores, though, from Melbourne. White, beaten again by McDonald, doing very well. Ackermanis jammed it on the boot. Shattuck picked it up, slips a hand pass away to Black, goes wider. Clever hand pass, brilliant hand pass. Notting, 60 metres out. Hedlund didn't have to move. Or maybe just the eyebrow.
And another easy shot at goal coming up for Brisbane. Got Johnson on the wing, Dermot. Travis Johnson. Yep. They've got Uze on the wing. Maybe they've got to just put their best players around the footy and take them head on.
Hedlund misses to the far side. Not by much. First blemish for the Lions. They lead by 17 points.
Well, I think they've got to get in the contest where the ball is rather than try and place them out wide and hopefully the ball can run to, because Brisbane just win the ball. Wherever it is, they just outmuscle the opposition and win it.
Clint Bizzle to bring it in. Originally drafted from Queensland. Kedron Grange in 1995. 75 games for the Cats. Virtually straight up the middle. Ellis outmaneuvered. Pike takes a very clever mark. Hedlund imploring him to give him the football. Well, it goes over his head. That's an interesting kick. Notting. Hedlund runs on. Notting in 2 minds. Well, they've confused themselves. Notting in trouble. Gets away, though. 55 metres out. He's a thumping kick. And that's a goal.
This kid's a monster kick, and I just had the feeling when he got there one-on-one, he was going to run around his opposition a little bit too easy. You see Pikey, he's playing actually a true centre-half forward leading up to the wings, and you see him, he's confronted, and Ward doesn't go him, and he's pretty confident of getting around him. He breaks that, and from outside 50, he's a monster kick, this kid.
Well, that wasn't a set play, or if it was, they got it off a Portuguese bus schedule. That was amazing. It fell into place, though, and they got the goal.
This bus schedule's always been difficult to follow.
Haven't they? You've had a similar problem, have you? Uze dragged off it. Ward kicks it down towards half forward. Lepich is in the road, though. Across the ground, nice kick. Hedlund looks a player these days. Number 1 draft pick, short, clever. Black. 2 West Australians combined. Simon Black about 60 metres out then. Lynch wants it long, and why not? He sets it up down towards full forward. In from the side, Ackermanis off hands. It slips behind. Lynch goes after it. Needed a longer leg. Behind.
I reckon Lynchy could have rolled the ankle and almost did the ribs in two different actions on the one play. Then over the ball, watch this, and into the post.
The Irish whip. The Irish whip into the cross buckle. On the wing, the mark is taken by Vardy on the lead. Serious times for the Demons, though. They trail by 24 points. Vardy is away, kicks inside the 50. Michael checks short of the ball. Leppich couldn't hang on to the mark. Neitz, strong tackle. White goes after it. He's over the football. It spills out the back to Michael. Almost claimed, did well. Ashcroft knocked it wider still. Scott's in there. White again. Came out minus the footy. Back they go after it. White's on top of it. Umpire Wen needs to stay, I think, close and call Wen. And eventually it's umpire Goalspink who takes it upon himself and goes across. He certainly let them play.
If you look at this, we draw back just on the left-hand side of the screen. Melbourne have got numbers behind there, which means that Brisbane have got more at the ball. They'll win it, and they just use it beautifully. They'll give it to each other first. There you
Michael
go.
did brilliantly. Well worked as they get it away. It was Scott who gave it to Ackermanis.
Done footy by the D's there.
Through the middle, down towards half forward. Lamb, lucky, got boot to ball, sends it back towards the wing. Taken by Ward. Notting did well. Ward's hands, though. Kept it going Melbourne's way. White. They're going in the wrong direction, but they've got possession. Woden out of bounds on the full. Great pressure from Brisbane.
That's the key point. Brisbane's pressure is the greatest trait. It's their premiership trait. Every club that comes up here, you look at the names and you just can't factor in the pressure. And when you get great skill to the pressure that they impart, you've got a side that hasn't lost here since round 9 last year.
Already you see Melbourne having to go short and wide just to retain possession. They haven't got the confidence to just split it up the guts, although they try now as they get a bit of run.
Leoncelli's kick. He got it from Green. Bruce, the look-away hand pass to no one in particular. Headland off the ground. Ackermanis. Nicely worked again. McRae. And Brisbane reload around the outer side. This is Pike.
Bradshaw.
Pike about 75 metres out. Bradshaw, as mentioned by Jared.
Well, the turnover was on, and Clint Bizzle had charged up the ground to try and get clear, and he was 50 metres away from his man. Now, when you're playing against a side as capable as Brisbane, you can't back your midfield in. You've got to play a little bit cagey and always factor in a turnover, and the turnover came and Bradshaw gets an easy shot at goal.
Should kick it, does kick it. Easy as you like.
All right, Dermot, you're in charge of the Demons. What do you do?
Oh, right about now, I'd stack the back line. Now, look.
Maybe go to Noosa.
Yeah. At the moment, you'd actually be pulling your hair out, because if you stack the back line, Brisbane will just use the ball with no pressure. They use it beautifully. They'll poke holes through your defence. Yet if you go man on man, they're belting them up physically.
Stack the Noosa into the ground is the edict from the man from Hawthorn.
Daniel Bradshaw, 31 goals for the season, including 6 against the Bombers in round 3. His best against Melbourne, 3 twice. Making a good start here. And so too his team. White fought a draw that time. Generally, McDonald has done best. Notting, his last goal was his 50th in AFL football. Across the body towards the wing. Shattuck's in front, almost interfered with. Took the mark anyway.
This is a true flexing of muscles after a break, and the premiership team is just feeling good about having a couple of weeks off.
Great judgment, Pike. Just popping behind. He's taken this mark about 30 metres out, slight angle.
Last time I saw this, Jared, this standard in an opening quarter, intra-club practice match when the seniors play the under-19s. They just out-muscle them, and that's what they're making them look like. Every time Melbourne have the ball, it's so easy for Brisbane to stick a tackle and just maul them. And conversely, when Brisbane have it, they break tackles.
Looking over his shoulder, Martin Pike trying to work it back, right to left.
Back to
hasn't done it.
It's actually, Dermot, reminds me of 10 years ago when Hawthorn were at their strongest. Every year somebody had come through, like Port Adelaide have now, and all of a sudden Port Adelaide are, in many people's minds, the premiership favourites. And yet Brisbane have just been doing their job week in, week out, relentlessly just heading towards September. And for some reason we underestimate Brisbane. They've done nothing wrong. Last time they took Port Adelaide on here, they gave them a 10-goal thumping.
Neitz, slick hands away, but behind the target, White. McDonald, Ackermanis. Now Scott, Brad Scott, little chip inside the 50. Bradshaw pitched in front of him. Still Bradshaw. He's attracted a crowd. 3 Melbourne players around him. Bizzle's got it. Goes by hand. Brown spots a man up towards the wing. It's White. Defensive side of right centre wing. Melbourne go forward. Vardy on a hard lead. Marks it low down. Sweeps it back towards the midfield. Brown, they needed a shepherd there. McDonald kicks inside the 50. Up on the lead, Robertson couldn't hang on. Green does well, hasn't got the 40. How did he get rid of it? Interesting debate going on. He's talking to the umpire as Notting takes him down. That's feisty.
Gave the tiny little handball, which replaced the old Kevin Bartlett
Yes, he did.
bounce. And the umpires, I think, still view it as the Kevin Bartlett bounce when you're about to get tackled.
I think it was on the blind side of the umpire. The umpire was on the far side, and there was no real backswing in that hand pass, was there?
I think
Here's
the
White.
umpires deliberately just ignore it, though. They just call play on every time. Power coming into it and just telling, look, muscled him. Their midfield was always going to be a chance to be competitive, but Johnson's had one possession, Uze none, Woden one, McDonald one, and Leoncelli one.
Powers kick very wide. Pike hard against the line, pulls it back. Bradshaw, clever mark.
He'd done him all the way, Dennis, hadn't he? Controlled the drop zone. He made all the body contact before the ball got there. He's done it now, and he's got him there. He just works out where the ball's going, protects that drop zone, and eventually marks it with nobody touching him.
Bradshaw for his second, straight through the middle. It's a rout.
It'd be a tough job awarding 3 votes if the game was called off at quarter time, but I tell you what, Pikey from Props Bay is putting his hand up again.
Not again.
How good is he?
Yeah, he's on fire up in that half-foot position, as you said. One thing certain, though, Dermot, you'd only be looking at 22 of the players.
Yep.
It has been one-sided football like we've seen rarely this season.
Well, it's a game simply being played in one half at the moment. That's the time remaining till quarter time.
Johnson into the middle. McDonald has gone into the middle. He's now on Ashcroft.
Ackermanis at the feet of White that time. It's happened a couple of times. The kick inside the 50.
Here he is again.
Pike over the footy. Could have got a free there. Down goes Brown likewise. Pushed towards the line by, who was that? Shattuck. Kept it alive initially. Scrambled out of there by Ellis. Wheatley in trouble on his knees, got a hand pass away. Brown tackled immediately on receipt of the football. Ackermanis goes after it. Wheatley did brilliantly. Wonderful pickup, clever hand pass. McDonald, interesting by Bruce, running down towards half forward, goes back to Wheatley. He's normally a pretty good kick. Well, that fixed him, although he'll claim it. Robertson's mark, 10 metres out.
Now,
I don't think he got it square.
one of the wonderful things about that, I mean, this is a well-earned goal for Melbourne. The fact is that Brisbane, look at that chase by Shattuck. He chased to catch him. He didn't just chase because that's what the coach asks you to do. And they stuck every tackle they laid their hands on there, Brisbane.
Robertson runs around across the body. Melbourne get there first.
And not before time, and for the sake of competition, let's hope that they can get another couple. But this is a magnificent performance by the Brisbane Lions. It's almost their best first quarter effort. They did that in round 8 against Collingwood when they kicked 7-2. But Wheatley into the side, and I think he might have been going for the pass. Dennis, we'll give him that one.
Yes.
Looking for positives at the moment.
Largesse. We're big on largesse on Sunday afternoons in the sunshine. 6-3 to 1-2. Just over 7 minutes remaining until quarter time. All Brisbane, but Melbourne getting the last goal. Ackermanis has been deadly in the middle. This time the ball bounces wide. Woden thumps it Melbourne's way. Over the ball was Black, trapped nicely. Hand pass came from Notting. Ashcroft couldn't do much with it. McDonald got it to Vardy. Chips it out wide. Wheatley's away. Down towards half forward goes the kick. Robertson on the lead. He's marked about 52 metres out. Ward's run on. Interesting kick wide of the mark. Still Ward. Still Ward. Shoots. And I think he's got the goal. Well done.
Well, that's the strength they carried into the match, running power, and if they're not prepared to use it, they're going to get blown out of the park and maybe out of the competition for this season. But this is a fight back of sorts. If they can get the next one, Dermot, I think that they go in at quarter time at least with some momentum, at least with some hope. But this is a good passage of play and well worked out too by Ward. He just went around one player, closed down the goals a little bit, but was smart enough to get it through.
39 plays 14. Another good bounce. They're doing that well. McDonald with a backhander.
They made a couple of changes. Ellis has gone back into defence on Bradshaw, and Pikey's got a new opponent in Bizzle.
Johnston kicked it about 10 metres. White, Uze, Vardy. Still inside the centre square. Peter Vardy pulls it back. Jolly is down there. Up he goes. Spills in front. Taken by Robertson. He's immediately claimed. Wheatley's been lively. Gets a hand pass back to about 70 metres from goal. Whelan loads up from behind Neitz. Off hands. Leopards goes after it and the mark is paid. They were only his hands. He's a good player. Gutsy mark. Oblivious to what was arriving. And what was arriving quickly and in bad humour. Here's Headland. Gets a hand pass away. Ashcroft on the wing. Plenty of time. Goes down towards half foot. Bradshaw lets it bounce, gathers the footy, lays it off immediately. Black pulls it back towards the middle. It was a very good kick. White did well, got back and gave a contest. Jarman was coming hard, but White wins the free.
Yeah, extremely courageous performance, that one from Jeff White. Full stretch, so his ribs are all exposed, and he did the right thing and dragged it free kick.
Wheatley in for the Ox this afternoon is doing terrifically well.
Looking better, Melbourne coming through the middle and getting it into their forward line with some pace.
Woden kicks to 50. Green was up, had it knocked away. McDonald in trouble, comes back to Green, surrounded, taken down by White, going nowhere, and the umpire lets them play. Let's go down to Anthony Mithen.
You mentioned Wheatley a couple of times there, Dennis. He came on at the 10-minute mark of this quarter for Andrew Leoncelli, who had knocked up. He needed the ice vest, needed a towel down, and just really highlighting the warm conditions down here.
Wheatley, 6 possessions already, so he's doing well. Just under 5 minutes to go, 39 plays 14.
Just noticed that Brisbane have not got one hand on that slipped off. And when you're talking about tackles, I mean, Ackermanis held the tackle with one hand on the jumper and dragged his opponent around. The next one was a slab tackle that took him down. Every time they lay a tackle, they get the whole body of the player down onto the deck. There you go.
Perfect example. McDonald taken down, free kick to Notting.
Was that prior opportunity? It was a perfect tackle. Didn't allow him to dispose of the ball, but if he's had an opportunity there, maybe it's the sun.
Derm's got some pull. Well, highlighting what he said.
Yeah.
White's got the ball on the outer side, down towards the wing. Jarman takes the mark. Improving all the time. Tackle count. Jarman back towards the middle. From behind Lynch, intent on destruction. Knocked it away from Lamb, who butters up again. Ward put the body in. So to the man on the deck there, McRae. He came in very hard. And a bounce. A lot of competition in this Brisbane team too for a place. He knows that. It would seem he and Power almost complement each other. Then again, some people could see that they are rivals. Knocked down, Ackermanis taken high, must get the free kick. Bad luck there for McDonald. He was step for step, that's his role, but Ackermanis very slippery.
Had a good season, James McDonald. And yeah, he's just powerful in the body, and you've got to go at him as hard as you can, and he can draw the odd free kick because he...
Ackermanis from 45. It's okay. His second goal at the turn.
And there's the Wallabies wannabe. And I tell you what, I'm not sure George Gregan can kick the ball like that. He's a very talented player, Jason Ackermanis, and whilst he has made headlines for some of the wrong reasons this year, he makes headlines at the moment out on the park at will. He is just playing fantastic footy, and it's a privilege to come and have a look.
So Brisbane now posted their best opening term for the season, 7-3 to 2-2. White beaten again. Jarman this time. They're doing very well in that centre square Brisbane, which is a little unexpected. Power kicked it inside the 50. Bizzle Under pressure, slips a hand pass away. Brown's got it, goes wide to Ward. Now he can run, and there's a man inside. Ellis, untidy hand pass at his feet. Ellis now confronted with a problem, forced to kick hurriedly, but well. This is Bruce, just outside the 50. 55 metres from goal. Clock running down to quarter time. 14 plays 45. Bruce goes long, down towards full forward. Lepage came hard, knocked it away from Robertson. Hart camped in front. Kicks it up towards the wing, a telling kick. McRae's got it. Left half forward.
And Russell Robertson, he just had to make the decision to either go or to rove. And in the end, he went halfway and almost had his shoulder knocked out.
Left half back, he gave it to Ashcroft. The movement was from Pike on the half forward line, and that wasn't used that time. Lamb, Woden. Nicely worked. Bruce runs away from half-back. Not a good kick, though. Off the outside of the bit. Robertson leads in the race close to the boundary line. Tries to knock it back to Johnston. Nothing doing. It'll be tossed in.
Let's have a look at Russell Robertson. There he is. And this is what I'm talking about. Has a look, goes halfway, then throws the arm out. And that is how you get your arm dislocated. But it's a tough one.
Down at Ashcroft. Picked up by Black. Packed forward by Uze. Robertson working on both arms, I'd suggest. Scott's got it. There's power. Little chip pass in short. Charman.
Right now, this match can be summed up in a contest in the goal square. You've got Chris Lamb with 7 games experience. Great mark there by Brad Green. And you've got Alistair Lynch with nearly 300 games experience.
That was a fantastic mark. Running with the flight of the ball. He kicks it down towards full forward. Johnny's over it. Going nowhere. Brisbane got the numbers initially. And umpire Goldspink goes across to pull it up. Well, the kick came towards midfield. Intended to Headland. Watch this again. Headland's got a problem with his son. And probably the way Green was going, he took the son out of the equation. But it was a wonderful mark. Bounce inside the 50. White goes up, taps it down. Lepage hurriedly towards the wing, running with the flight of the ball. Headland couldn't complete the mark. He'll come again, though. Headland a little too casual. Well played by Uze. Not the man to be casual around. Brown, Whelan, Wheatley. Advantage is paid. Wheatley probing kick inside the 50. Neitz was up, couldn't hang on. Robertson behind, upended, put down brilliantly by Scott. Johnson breaks away, kicks to midfield. Headland's got it. Man is on for the short one. Headland demands the man turn around. It's Charman. Gave it to him. Back it comes to Headland. It's 3-on-2. Headland runs across the 50. Settles, lines up, pulls it back. As good as you will see. A thinking man's goal.
Good execution, wasn't it, in the end? Debatable whether he ran too far without touching the thing onto the deck, but young Charman there, you saw, well, the mechanics of the situation. Charman didn't really know what to do, and he got it to a man, Headland. Here we go. He dishes off first to Charman, and he doesn't really know what's going on here. He should just bolt from there. Gives it back to Headland, and another one coming in. Good vision, good finishing.
He almost demanded Charman turn around and take the mark,
Didn't he?
Because I'm going to run on and take the hand pass. I need you. What a start by the Brisbane Lions. High bounce. White better that time, but again, it's Brisbane. Copeland this time inside the 50. Bradshaw is up. Woden the crumb. Lamb straight into Headland. Headland running away from goal. Lays it off to Hart. Goes with his left boot down towards full forward. Hit it a punch. Lynch was in there. Quick hands. Brilliant hands from Scott to Black, and there's another one.
Is it on the board?
Yes.
Might have been McRae who got the hand pass out. I think it was. It counts. Well, perhaps it doesn't. There's some debate. I think the goal umpire has already waved the flags, but that can be undone.
Well, any one of the 3 umpires can come up and say they heard the siren, and yeah, there you go, turnover.
Jeez, it was a big call. I reckon he kicked it on the siren. That's maybe it was the distance away we are, Dermot.
Digby Morrell and Simon Black both go into the record book this year.
Kevin Sheedy be keen on the fourth umpire. That to examine during the week.
The nullifier. He's given it the nullifier. Do they practice that?
Well, it's the Brisbane Lions. 8-3-51 commanding lead over the Melbourne Demons. 2-2-14. Welcome back to the GABBA, and the paint on the back of the stand here is just about peeling off as Neil Danaher approaches his charges. Let's take a look at the quarter-time score sheet. And Daniel Ward, Robertson, 1 apiece for the Demons. They're 2 goals, 2-14. The Brisbane Lions, 8-3-51, 2 each to Ackermanis, Bradshaw, 1 to Headland, Notting, Lynch and Shattock. At half-time, just on the quarter-time siren, Simon Black had the shot at goal. We're going to freeze it on the siren. Freeze play on the siren. You make up your own mind. That is pretty...
I can't.
Well, bear in mind our microphones are right beside the siren noise. Just spoke to the bloke who pressed the button, and they thought in the scorer's box that it was simultaneous, but as our camera shows, maybe there was a split second in it.
Did you get a name?
Well, let's go down to the scene of the crime where the Saints utility, Lenny Hayes, was injured a few weeks ago. Anthony Mithen.
Yeah, thanks, Derm. Down on the boundary, just on the siren issue, it did sound like the siren just beat Simon Black, but anyway, the score's on the board now. I'm down right on the boundary. If you take a few steps sideways, this is exactly where Lenny Hayes broke his hand, and you can see the concrete and pole that's still in place. There's no hoarding across the ground. The Lions pay about $3 million rent here at the GABBA, and I would have thought that if it was one of their players, they'd have it fixed pretty promptly. So it's a bit of a worry. There's a couple of spots here where some damage could be done. So yeah, I reckon the Saints have got a case given the fact that they were most disgruntled with Lenny Hayes breaking his hand.
And I know what Mitho means, but the score isn't on the board.
Yeah, it was, but it isn't.
Yeah.
We know exactly what he means. We're all confused, but nevertheless, I think he's raised a very important issue. And speaking of Peter Blucher of the Brisbane Lions, he has squarely said that it is a trust issue, and the trust are the ones that are going to be sued, I suspect, or if something really damaging does happen, they're the ones who are going to be footing the bill. And there is padding on a couple of the entrances here, so if it's good enough for those entrances, why wouldn't you cover up that concrete block?
Lions by 37 points. Power again. They've done that so often, getting at the feet of White. The kick inside the 50. McRae, did he have the footy? Play goes on. Bizzle. Ellis comes away from right half back up towards the wing. On the lead was Green. Loose ball at the back. Johnson shuffles across, I think intent on the boundary, and gets his wish.
In fact, it's not just the trust, but you reckon the footy clubs would all get together and say, this isn't safe. I mean, the St Kilda Footy Club lost a player. It is incredible that no action's taken place after a player has damaged his arm only a month ago.
The D's have put Walsh on to Ackermanis and relieved James McDonald of his duty.
Green at the base of that. Ball up. 51 plays 14. Exhilarating start by the Brisbane Lions. 8-3 in the opening term. And that man right amongst it, Jason Ackermanis, with 2 goals. Up ahead, the bounce. White has to wait. Won it down decisively. Powell moved it about, I was going to say 10 metres, 15.
He's going to be important for them here, Powell, moving into the centre this second quarter now.
Robertson gave it to Bruce. Long ball. Strength of Neitz, almost stuck. Goes after it again, outnumbered. Michael. This is Notting. Upwards right half back. 2 against 1. Told the tail. Notting kicks towards the boundary. Wants it out. It stays in. Brown's got it. Strong tackle got him down though. Did that go out with Uze? I think it did. So does the boundary umpire.
One of Melbourne's great strengths has been the clearances, because Jeff White's been in such good form, but Brisbane are sensational at clearances, and in the first quarter it was 9-2, throw-ins 3-1, and ball-ups was 5-love. Let's have another look at how Brisbane operate, and can Melbourne neutralise it.
Indication there of the warmth from umpire Goldspink, toweling himself down with a trainer. Well, with the towel from a trainer. As the ball goes down towards half forward, Robertson is penalised for that leap from behind. Just out of control. Scott. Chris Scott. Another arrogant kick, but White will get the free. Went to White with a man virtually on.
Good protection there, White gave himself. Just put the knee out into the chest and got Brad Green.
So White decides to bounce it where he stands. Gives it to Johnson. Short one to McDonald.
16 Demons in the defensive side. Defensive half of their ground now.
Prescott again. Low trajectory kick inside the 50. He is the leading player and runs out of bounds as we go once again to Anthony Method.
It is warm down here, Dennis, as you can see there. Darren Jolly in the ice vest and Leoncelli without the jumper on, and both clubs used the shade at quarter time just to stay out of the direct sun as long as they possibly could.
And Goldsmith going for a rub down himself.
I think sweat in the eyes there. Bizzle. High floating kick out of defence. Bounces on its point just inside the boundary line, then goes out.
The heat is obviously going to be a factor, but I mean, you can't blame the heat for the first 10 minutes of a match.
No.
And that's where Melbourne have let themselves down. It's almost as if the heat has robbed them of their tenacity at the football, and it's become pretty evident on the scoreboard, obviously.
Ackermanis to Black with ample time. Kicks it inside the 50. Melbourne have got the numbers 2-on-1, but getting back is Lynch deep in the pocket, pulls it back, or tried to. It didn't come back very far. Out of bounds on the full. Well, almost a carbon copy of the game against Essendon, that Friday night football match we saw in the last round. Slow start by Melbourne. They clawed their way back, lost by 2 goals, but you can't keep giving starts, obviously. Woden to the opposite pocket. Johnston, good kick. Walsh on the angle, stop, should have gone at that ball. Now he does. That's well done. Eventually, as the kick goes down from Robertson inside the 50, and there's going to be a Melbourne free, and it's going to Vardy.
It's not a bad matchup there. I mean, Chris Johnson is a very clever player, talented player in the back pocket, and Vardy's a quick leader. But I reckon on the stretch, if they stand flat-footed, Vardy will outmark him. Not all the time, but he'll get a couple of grabs on him. Got a great leap, Chris Johnson, if you can give him a run up at it.
Also potent there, full forward line. Vardy, Brad Green and David Neitz. But the ball's got to come in there quickly and a hell of a lot for them to be able to apply their trade.
It's an important kick right here. Got to do it step by step, and that's a bad start. Vardy hangs it out to the right and kicks it behind.
It's a very interesting article in the Sunday paper here this morning. It was a lady's impression of the game. She's a recent convert to it. She wants to know why behind isn't called a beside. You work that out, Dermot, and give us a logical answer.
Oh. Yeah, well, she's got a point.
Scott goes short. Ashcroft to the left half back. Margin 36 points. Sends play beyond the wing. McDonald has been very good. There's a lot of competition for the ruck spots in this Brisbane team. McDonald drives it long inside the 50. Bradshaw up early at the back of the pack. A chance for Woden. Measures a hand pass. This is Ellis in trouble. Virtually ran into a tackle.
Geez, that's twice Ellis now. Twice he's tried to take on the player, and his dummy is never bought.
I've got to say this,
goes.
If we get a replay, this Tim Notting, the wide replay, when we get in a second, the wide replay will show Tim Notting actually hide behind the umpire and then jump out and come at him. He hid behind him. We'll get a wide shot of it in a second.
Sounds like a mugging.
It is, and you can utilise them occasionally. He gave him the screen.
So Notting's got the free. He'll get his second goal, and I think he's missed. Well, that's the way it should be if you're going to hide behind umpires. He jumped down. Is that what you're saying?
He did. You watch. He lines himself up. He's come from a second ago. He's run around the umpire. He's come from directly behind him. About a second or two before that, he actually lined up behind him, waiting for Ellis to come towards him.
It counted to 100. He could go. It's 8-4 to 2-3. So we'll let it off there for the Demons. The shade you can see creeping out onto the GABBA. Short pass to the pocket. Johnston's got it. Out against the fence. Everything under pressure for Melbourne so far. Whelan having a good season. Up to his left half back. Goes to the middle and Bizzle. Will it get there in time? Only just. Well worked though. Bizzle's away. He's on the wing. He kicks down towards half forward. Wheatley. Contending with his son. He's marked about 52 metres out.
He's a monster kick, this kid. He should go back and give it everything he's got.
Ellis has been taken from the ground.
Vacant goal square. How would you be telling the coach what really happened? Well, he jumped out from behind the umpire and...
I didn't see him. Just saw a white shirt, and then it was Brisbane.
Bruce towards the opposite pocket. Well, Neitz did the hard stuff, dropped the mark, recovers, snaps, it floats towards goal. White gets back. Right on the line. Centimetres in it. They're conceding nothing, the Lions. White really scuttled after that one. Terrific effort. Goes towards the outer side. Going back is Vardy. Reaching over the top is Pike. Plays on immediately. Ashcroft down towards half forward. Shattuck in front. Up he goes and takes a very good mark.
Notice in the first quarter, Dennis, when Shattuck gave the big chase 100 metres all down the ground, they took him off straight away and rested him.
They're blessed with a number of players like Tim Notting and Shattuck and Headland who can all play on the sides and the wings and on the flanks, but they've got long arms and they can take big grabs, and this has been a good transfer of the footy.
Just looking so sharp, as we said earlier. Shattuck, a long kick, held off the ball as Lynch. Well done by Lamb, and White able to take that mark in front.
And if you wanted to compare Port Adelaide with Brisbane, one of the reasons where Brisbane may have an advantage is the marking power of their running players. Port Adelaide have got a fantastic group, a fantastic fleet of swift running players, but they're all a hell of a lot smaller than their counterparts up in Brisbane.
Costly turnover there, and Tim Notting chips in again. He's had 9 possessions. He's already got a major to his one major to his credit, and he's a monster kick himself.
Very handy player is Notting. Kick from right on the 50. White gave it up coming out. Again, Notting has started at left. Up goes Bizzle, got a fist on that. Tim Notting, incidentally, kicked 6 goals against Melbourne, round 21 of 1999. Now, that day, the Lions kicked 25-9 at the MCG, and they haven't kicked a bigger away score since. Short one comes in. Johnstone. So often, the escape valve chips to the opposite pocket. Woden. 8-5 plays 2-3 at the GABBA. Melbourne with a lot of work to do. Woden to Ward, who likes to run. Lays it off this time. Powell runs to centre half back. Kicks towards half forward. Good kick too. Bruce takes the mark. Slipping away from Ashcroft. Bruce told to play on now. Well, that's very ambitious and brilliantly done. Getting back McGrath in the side for Voss. Not a good kick either. Gave it back to Bruce. Terrible decision to get back to the middle by Melbourne just moments ago. 2-on-1. The one was stationary. Vardy to Ward. 55 metres out. Unloads. Good looking effort. That's better.
Well, Brisbane just seemed to get a few players just looking for an easy passage there, and they all drifted inside defensive 50. And you see the turnover occur here. And most of the Brisbane guys now decide to run into defensive 50, which creates a little bit of space in the midfield here. And they can just flush through there. Now, once the ball's kicked, have a look at the Brisbane players inside. They've all peeled back in there. Around the 50, and they just go through.
Daniel Ward has 2 goals. Melbourne have got 3. Brisbane 8-5 lead at 53-21.
Great bounce from the umpire.
It was. They've been bouncing well all day. Charging in was McDonald. Taken there by Vardy. Kicked inside the 50. Umpire calls play on. Waving his arms about. Wheatley to Green. Jams at goal. Hits the post.
Good touch from the centre there for Melbourne, getting the ball in quickly. Their captain, David Neitz, is under enormous pressure, but he created a contest. And then that one on the side of the boot from Brad Green just gave him the wrong bounce.
Scott goes out wide to Johnson. Looks back towards the middle. Threads the pass to White, who breaks away from half-back. Interesting kicking style to Pike. Pike feeds it back towards the middle. Johnson's run on from the wing. Virtually squares the ball. Shattuck looks down towards half-forward. Coming on the lead is Lynch. And the ball beats him across the line. Interesting that outside of the boot business with Green.
Yep.
We'll come back to that as we go down to Anthony Mithun.
Bradshaw has come off the ground about 5 minutes ago. He's coming off with a bit of a hobble. He looks to have a calf problem, and interestingly had some tape around the calf underneath his sock, indicating that he may have come into the game with the problem in the first place.
Boundary throw in. McDonald pulls it down behind, taken by Powell. Outside of the boot, it wanders towards the boundary line. Shattuck leads in the race. It's out of bounds. I'm just reminded of that mark he took against Essendon. Played on about 2 metres out. That's a right foot kick right there too, isn't it? That one.
Yep. Well, there's more confidence doing that than on his right foot.
Well, that one against Essendon, he missed from about 3 metres out. Remember that?
Yep.
At a very important time of the game. But giving him his due, he came back about 2 minutes later and kicked a goal.
Yeah, he laid one across his body. Beautiful snap in the end. And they're doing all right here, the Demons. I wouldn't say they've taken the ascendancy just for the moment, but they're at least getting a few break-evens here. Brad Green on screen.
Getting some better clearances, but they've got to get more out of their chief playmakers. Adem just with 4 possessions. Travis Johnson 7. And James McDonald 5. Leoncelli 4.
Black out of the congestion, floats it down towards the pocket. Woden goes back and takes the mark.
Woden coming in for his 9th possession. Playing a hell of a lot in the defensive 50 at the present stage, setting them up. They've got to break free and get some more possession, damaging possession through the middle.
As Walsh got it from Woden up to Green on the wing. Just the defensive side of the wing. Warm day in Brisbane, glorious day to watch footy. Kicks it down towards half forward, telling kick too. Neitz comes on the lead and takes a very good mark. A clever mark. He's about 50 metres out. No Melbourne player is deep at the moment. Vardy is going back, so too Robertson. But Neitz, I think, wants to take a shot right here. You can see that Michael had part of that right arm. And Neitz still managed to hang on. He kicks from 52 metres out, miscues completely. It wanders towards the opposite pocket. Going back is Scott with Robertson, and the ball bounces out of bounds.
I remember last week I made the comment, Dennis, about David Neitz. His kicking has gone off in the last year or so, and then he came out and brained one from outside 50. But that's the kind of thing he's been doing a little bit too regularly, just shanking them a bit.
He waited today.
Yeah.
Neitz knocked it down. Vardy tried to come out backwards, immediately claimed by Johnson. Adem having a quiet spell.
Thanks for the backup.
Oh, well, you did say it last week, I know, but you weren't game then when he was lining up.
No,
as I said last week. Rucks go at it. Michael knocked it down. Chris Scott sends play towards the outer side. Charman lays it off immediately. The veteran, Ashcroft, still has some toe. Jolly's after him. Ashcroft kicks well inside the 50. 2-on-1. Woden takes the mark. Lynch doesn't take too many prisoners. Lamb went down. Meantime, Jolly. Wheatley on the outer side. Second his game.
Second time this quarter they've double teamed Alistair Lynch on the mark.
Johnston to the pocket in the lead of Neitz.
Much better movement of footy by Melbourne. Longer kicks. They've been over-possessing the ball. They're much too much handball. They've been having to do it because of the pressure from Brisbane. But I reckon the stats that show that they're well and truly up in handballs, and their long kicks are well down by comparison to Brisbane, who love to run with the ball, bounce it through the middle and kick it long into the attacking area.
Twice runner-up for Melbourne's best and fairest, David Neitz. Very sharp angle. Kicks it behind to the far side.
Well, you've got a situation already this quarter. Neitz with 2 shots within range, and he's registered 1 behind. Here's the double team on Lynchy, and Lamb doesn't make any effort at the ball. He's just purely there as a screen, and well done. He put his hands up. He disguised it well.
Johnson short. Scott in the back pocket. Lions lead it by 30.
Just having a look at the long kick count, Dennis. Brisbane 51, Melbourne 32, and the ratio of kick to handball, Melbourne are 1.5, Brisbane 2. So they're getting twice as many long kicks as they are handballs.
Shattuck with a long kick around the outer side. Bruce claiming he marked it with his fingertips. It trickles across the line.
One of the toughest jobs in footy is to be run around with by Brad Scott, and Adem has got that unenviable task today. There's the stats. 4-2 Uze approaching half-time.
What about Hawthorn, Dermot? You would study the stats of the Hawks pretty closely. When you were going through your bad spell, was it reflected by the kick-handball ratio?
Yes, it was. Yeah. There's an overuse of the ball, but more importantly, the delivery to targets. So if you hit the target, The more possessions that hit the target, obviously you win the game, and the better the hard ball gets you get.
Thursday got to kick that time up towards half forward and Green. In the good last 5 minutes or so, Brad Green plays on immediately, wants to go forward of the mark though. He's pulled back by umpire Goalspink. Less than 8 minutes to half time. Melbourne just holding Brisbane at the moment. That's the first step they need to take. And maybe now some icing on the cake. Very good mark, very good kick. Neitz has got it. Third bit is out directly in front.
And speaking to the Hawthorn guys who play down back, and it was all the way back in round one, but they said the biggest powerhouse forward in the league is this fella. He is the
Big
toughest
David
man,
Neitz.
and he is the biggest, strongest body of any forward in the comp.
And he's much better at this distance. He doesn't try and overkick the ball. You'd expect this one to sail through post high.
31 goals for this season. Kicks and kicks Troy. So they're edging closer.
And what we're seeing is classic David Neitz. Once he's outside of his comfortable zone, he changes his kicking style around, and he tries to hop and jump and belt the football. If he's within that 35-40 metre range, he just goes, kicks it in a straight line, and generally gets the desired result. You can see there the head down, doesn't try and overkick the ball, just keeps it nice and straight. And we might compare that kicking style later on at half time to the other one outside 50.
The margin was 37 points at quarter time. And as you can see, Melbourne doing better now, 8-5 to 4-5. Still plenty of time remaining till half time. And they're going to be, one senses, 7 important minutes. Black's got it, immediately attracts a crowd. Leoncelli back on the ground, and another ball up.
Once again, power for Melbourne. 5 possessions, and most of them are pretty hard earned, right in the action zone in the heat. And that's attributed to this Melbourne turnaround.
Darman got very high. The base of the pack. Walsh trying to jam it on the boot. Bruce did nicely. Leoncelli, well done. Ward's run has been effective. Runs to 50. Lines up, going at his third. And he's got it. How about this?
And Stephen Powell's actually gone to the bench, and his replacement was Leoncelli. Now, if you see back in the centre, that man there had the clean hands, and he's got fantastic hands. Andrew Leoncelli, you watch it get to him, and it's a one-take grab for Leoncelli and a one give-off. Bang, under pressure, the man was there, and he's hit the target on the move.
But it's been a good fight back, and important, because I think the reference to the heat was an excuse. You can't blame heat in the first 15 minutes or quarter. Melbourne just came out, they weren't ready mentally, and they've fought back. It hasn't got any cooler here, but what's happened is they've turned up the heat in the centre bounces, and Jolly's doing pretty well in the middle.
Charman won that one down. Bruce, he's been handy too. Jolly. Johnston paddles it towards the wing. Ample time, settles, looks back towards the middle. Leoncelli. Mark was paid, he goes in short, stretching. Bruce has taken it, turns around, 40 metres out, he's off target. Should have done better. That would have been big.
It's been a real turnaround here for the Demons. Brisbane have dropped off in their intensity, but you can only win the ball as often as your opponents let you, and the Demons now, with their running power on top, have just looked a totally different side, Dermot.
Well, you mentioned the intensity's dropped off. The first quarter, the Brisbane Lions, and I was ranting and raving at how good it was. They applied 14 hardcore legitimate tackles for the quarter, which was brilliant. And in this quarter, the Brisbane Lions have laid 5 tackles, so they're 1/3 the amount of tackles. And Melbourne are just relishing the opportunity to get free open running with the ball.
And I reckon Paul Wheatley's doing a good job. It won't show up in the statistics, but he just continually takes Justin Lepich away from the football.
Ball inside the 50 for the D's. Brilliant pickup by Robertson, who wheels around, kicks from 52, back towards full forward. Neitz is going to get a free kick. Well, he played in front, and the umpire indicated over the shoulder. Michael can't believe it. Well, it's there. Left arm. A couple of times, actually, but it was paid for the initial encroachment.
The last one, if that was a free kick, if it was the last one, Rod Carter would have had thousands kicked on him.
Thousands more.
He was a champion.
Neitz directly in front. What a transformation. Should kick the goal. Does kick the goal. Melbourne are back in business.
Well, it was a good fight back, this one, and clearly Neil Danaher threatened. He may have been going to send them to Western Queensland. The Noosa holiday, Dermot, wasn't going to come to fruition. But all of a sudden, the Noosa end has turned into the goal kicking end. And he has had a crack at the cameraman there, David Neitz.
They're kicking with the sun in this quarter.
We've just lost a cameraman. He's been hit by the football.
At 5 plays 6-6, approaching half time.
Neitz gets his second opponent now. Justin Leppich moves over onto him.
Jolly backhands it down. Black is there. Interesting hand pass. Headland's got the run of it. It gets away to runs to 50. Brisbane could do with a goal. Long towards the goal line. Uze goes back. He was the last man in that group. Got hands to it. Across the line it goes. So Brisbane increased their lead, but it's a slender one now after it really got out match-winning proportions in that first term. Their best first quarter of the season. There's Uze in the shadows. Back deep in defence now. Goalspink tells him to hurry. Uze to himself. Intends, I think, that ball to find one of the taller men. Jolly was the biggest there. Didn't mark it. Notting over his shoulder. Shattuck, who's been pretty good, comes back to Notting. Notting dangerous in this situation. Good pressure, though. He kicks to the pocket and slipping away was Lynch. I'm not sure that was Notting's intention. It may well have been. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he sized him up.
Okay.
Yeah, I reckon he definitely sized him up.
Good kick then. So Lynch lining up his second. Kicks from 25. What's he done? He's missed, has it? Near side? Yes. Not even close, apparently.
Had the yips a couple of years ago. He's not the world's best kick for a full forward. Competent.
Johnston to bring it in. Big roar from the crowd, so I think he just barely scraped it in for a behind. Although, of course, that could be misleading because this is a Melbourne home game. Johnston straight down the middle. McDonald has timed his jump. Pike came at it hard. Hand passes towards half forward. Black is outnumbered. Couldn't control the footy. Bruce slid in. Slips it away, but to the wrong man. Shattuck got a hand pass to Ackermanis. He hand passes towards half forward. Bizzle tried to control it. Come across to Brown. He's taken down by McGrath. Over the top goes Black. Whistle. Ball up right on the 50.
Just looking at the stats for this quarter alone, Jason Ackermanis has had just 2 handballs. Luke Powers had 1 handball. Chris Scott, well, he's had plenty of possessions. He's had 6. Just looking at their playmakers early in the game, Des Headland only 1 possession.
Jolly backhands it down. Headland straight up in the air. Bizzle, strong tackle, got him down. McGrath. In there is Shattuck trying to move the ball forward, going nowhere. And another ball up. Under 4 minutes till half-time. The margin was 38 points at the 7-minute mark of this second term. White itching to come back on. Now it's 13 points.
Even the disposals, Dermot, 61 to 45. You wouldn't credit that we're watching the same 2 sides run around. Change jumpers at quarter time.
Broadbridge laid it down. Ackermanis was taken high. That was careless. Now McRae wants to go. He's allowed to go. No, the umpire insisting it had come back.
Yeah, that's
kicked
good.
a goal.
Good umpiring. It's too easy for everybody just to assume the stop on play, and it just inconveniences the defending team too much. It's inside 50. He's got something wrong with him now. I think it's Big Jolly, was it? With his hand.
Ackermanis going at his 3rd. It's a very timely goal. Stems the bleeding.
Yeah, it was the case for hot hands but a cool head, and Daniel Ward just came over the top. And it was an errant arm. There was Broadbridge getting it through, and there was the hook around the neck. You just got to be a little bit more circumspect. Walsh it was, thanks, Dennis. And he's given away a shot at goal. You give away a shot at goal to this bloke, you might as well just run back to the centre.
So the Lions needed that one. and their star provided it. 9-7, plays 6-6, but still Melbourne well in the hunt. They can ill afford, though, to give up any more between now and half-time. White with the big leap. Walsh anxious to make amends. Breaks away. Forward of the wing. Kicks inside the 50. Neitz gets across. Awkward half volley. Tracked by Lepich. Hand passes back towards Wheatley. He's been a good player. Did he have the football? Play on's the call. Chris Scott's got it. He kicks it out of defence. Back towards the wing. Going across on the angle. Leoncelli. And Hart will be penalised for Shepherd. That's a very interesting call. Very interesting call. Leoncelli pops it back inside the 50. Very wide, though. Not a good kick. Just pushed across the line by Scott.
I've got to go to Neitz. Got to go to Neitz in that one-on-one. No, you know what he did? He didn't put the hands up as if he wanted the ball there. Hard. It's not a free kick, but he just didn't disguise. He probably was shepherding it in the end.
He might have been, but aren't you allowed to within 5 metres?
Bruce, that was an amazing free kick on the replay. Headland's got it. Gets a hand pass off. Well done. McDonald releases Johnstone. He takes off. Hand passes back to Black. Nice change of direction. Goes down towards half forward. Shattuck.
In actual fact, you're not allowed to shepherd in a marking contest, Jared. You have to make your attempt at the ball.
Well, he just put his hands out either side, didn't he? Though, as the ball goes to Johnson.
I don't make the rules.
He's like regular Gaines, just getting ready for a double somersault of tuck as the ball comes into Ackermanis. So he can kick his ball.
And rightly, most players just heading straight back to the middle, because he does not miss. Now, this is putting the mocker on him.
There goes his kick. And he puts it through. Now, you're a very good judge.
Couldn't lose then. You either put the mocker on him and keep the game alive well and truly.
He's just deadly, though, Devon. He's in the zone as far as his game is concerned. We highlighted that he'd had just one possession about 5 minutes ago. Well, he's only had 4 now, but 2 of them have been 6-pointers. So devastating.
And in the meantime, Mal Michael finds himself on the pine after having a couple of grabs taken on him by David Neitz.
4 goals now for Jason Ackermanis this afternoon. Slapped wide. McDonald. Vardy. Bruce down towards half forward. Johnston with the run of it. White. Oh, that's clever. Came out backwards. Black back to White. He was held without it. He played that brilliantly. And generous applause for a man who served this team very, very well. Casually across the middle, McDonald releases a running player. Headland goes inside the 50, and suddenly all of Melbourne's good work is coming unglued. Right on the line, Bizzle, maybe no. The kick was centimetre perfect.
He looked a good player in full flight coming through the middle, and as you said, Dennis, despite Melbourne's great work this quarter, it's been undone by 3 minutes of just concentration. Let's have a look at Darryl White just sliding through the back, looking for all intents and purposes like Nureyev. His footwork down it was outstanding, and then he gets it to this bloke. Well, he will get it to that bloke. He got it to Des Headland, and coming through the middle, he looked a sensational running player.
Interesting situation for Brisbane with Headland, isn't it? Coming out of contract. Talk last year he wanted to go back to Perth. How they rate him now will be, I think, of interest to a lot of people in the football community. Leoncelli knocks it down. Powell chips inside the 50. It ricocheted off a player in front of Powell. Robertson gets a hand pass away. Leoncelli pulls it back and misses to the near side.
Now, if Russell Robertson plays smart here, he's going to find plenty of the ball. Reason being that his opponent, Scott, is playing about 5 metres closer to the goal to him because he wants to get back and try and double team against David Neitz to give Justin Lepich a hand. So if Robertson plays smart, he'll find footy.
White misjudged it. Headland runs onto the loose ball. Plenty of support too. Goes to Notting. Just get the sense that Brisbane have found something now. Mike has to wait for it. Bizzle got out of the tackle, comes back looking for Notting close to the line. Upended by a Ward. Headland did brilliantly. Slips the hand pass away. McRae sent away on his left foot. Measures it, trying to pull it back left to right. Not quite behind.
Pike and Bizzle still at it. behind plate, and that man shot off.
So the margin back to 31 points. We were talking moments ago. It was 13 after being 37 at quarter time. Bad result this for Melbourne. Brown, still Brown. Ward, he's kicked 3 goals, most of them from the true centre half forward possession. Comes back towards the middle. Bissell takes it on the siren. Half time on this Sunday afternoon, and Melbourne will be kicking themselves. They worked their way back into it, but like a good side, Brisbane found something extra. They responded, and they lead at half time at the GABBA 11-8 to 6-7.
Good value for them, Powell, when it came on. Gave them a few clearances, and they just didn't win the ball at the stoppages in the first quarter. The Lions absolutely muscled them. Wheatley was good when he went to centre half forward, Jared.
Yeah, he took Justin Leppich away. Leppich ended up having to go back on to Neitz, and as we look down, that's exactly where he starts this second half, and another brilliant bounce from the umpire.
Lions by 31 points. White got it down to Powell. Very high ball inside the 50. Everyone peels off and waiting behind. Neitz has taken the mark, but he's penalised. Pushing the back. Leppich we saw come flying through the picture. No sign of Neitz. And obviously, Neitz moved him illegally. So Leppich decides to play on rather ambitiously. Gets a hand pass away. Brad Scott over the top. Plenty of numbers back. This is Power. Power, the short pass. Just short of the wing. Brad Scott's got it again. Looks towards the middle. Man on. Chris Scott has to go back to find it though. Off his step down towards half forward. McDonald. I think that was his intention to lay it down for Headland. They may have been surprised by it all. Bissell, yes, not trying to get it out too hard. Pike though emerges with it, wrenched it off Bissell, lines up from about 45 and misses to the left-hand side. First score, second half.
It's an unusual tactic, isn't it, for a big man to actually go for the mark. Well, he could have taken the mark, but to palm it down as in a rough tap out, always a lot safer to accept a mark.
Beautiful day in Brisbane. Woden to bring it in. Straight down the middle.
Careful, wide, it's broken wide. If Uze can pick him up, he's gone to the wrong side.
Leoncelli it was who took the mark. Uze's kick, not marked in front by Green. He applies a tackle, and the ball not coming out. Copeland underneath Green. So it bounced down towards half forward for the Demons. Yes, White was breaking on this side of the ground. Not seen by Uze, who was going away on his left side. There's the bounce. Big thump by McDonald down towards half forward. McRae, quick hands away. Likewise, Ackermanis did brilliantly. Over the top to Black from Power. Runs inside the 50. A lunging, despairing, attempted tackle. Affected the kick. White was up in front. It's forced towards the pocket. Down goes Black. It'll be tossed in.
The forward balance has been upset with Bradshaw going off because he's a good leading forward and he's also a body player if he needs to stand and shove. Now, to get that second tall option near goal, they've had to use Mel Michael, who was spanked up down the other end.
There's a upended. White's hand pass. Okay, Powell, nicely done. Whelan comes away. Kicks for space out towards the wing. Ashcroft leads back in the race, lacking support. May take it out. No, decides against that. Goes to Johnson. Suddenly it's 3-on-2. Scott's got it. This is Brad Scott. Comes back to Ashcroft. Another man on. Chris Scott. He's forward of the wing. Pops it inside the 50. McDonald reaches over the top. Perhaps could have marked it. Shattuck's got it. Loose man in the pocket. Headland decides to stop.
Went through his mind.
Well, loose men everywhere for the Brisbane Lions.
Already kicked 2 goals, Des Headland. He's a good finisher.
Should kick it. And does.
Always been in two minds about the approach by coaches to corral players. We saw just down here, Dermot, prior to this play happening, where Chris Scott had the ball. His man, Peter Vardy, just wanted to corral him. It doesn't take any hard work to corral. You've just got to stand in the way. There's no pressure put on Johnson, and they get another player into their vicinity, and all of a sudden the ball goes away. It takes him to convince me that it's not it's the way to go.
So suddenly, Des Headland becoming a goal kicker. 6 last week, a career high. He's got 3. And that sort of pace again today. Immediately after half-time, McDonald goes up, beaten by White, taken by Powell, who kicks inside the 50. Storming up the ground is Neitz. Leppich there step for step. Neitz showed a lot of courage to go after it and strength to stand up. He was going nowhere. He was hog-tied, and we'll have a ball up about 35 metres out from goal.
Good tap from Jeff White there to Stephen Powell. I think a lot of people will be just surprised to know that he is the #1 player in the league of tapping the ball directly to Melbourne teammates, but his percentage is only 16% of times.
Snapshot from Green. It's okay. It's a goal.
Well, once again, he saw him shank the one down the other end when he tried to lay it off the side of the foot, and there on his non-dominant side, his right foot, he finds the target. So
watch this by Neitz.
Here's one of the 16% that count. That one wasn't Jeff White, but it was Neitz. If you can do that, well then ruck taps are so important.
You've got to ask the question though, Jared. In the second quarter, when he went to lay the banana across his body onto the left foot in the open goal, what's wrong with his right foot? That's 2 times in 2 weeks he's missed with the left foot, and he can do that yet in 30 minutes' time.
Just carries it for balance. 12-9-7-7. Well, no option that time. He had to kick it with his right and did a very good job. Donald punches it down. Black runs onto it. Feeds it wider. Chance for Scott. Brad Scott goes to Johnson. Johnson about 60 metres out. Found himself in space. A little chip inside intended for McRae. Walsh put the body in. McRae came again. Walsh is over the football. In goes Johnson. Uze taps it back in. McRae on his knee. Stolen by Johnston. Kicks it very short. Bizzle under pressure. Wanted to hold that one back, I think. Got it to Powell. Brown's in trouble. Johnson got him down. Quick hands from Black to Headland. Lines up his 4th. How about this? He's on a goal-kicking spree.
Well, they just gang tackled their way to a goal there, and Melbourne under pressure wanted to handball rather than getting the ball clear from the action. And if you want to take the Brisbane Lions on, you do so at your own peril, because as Dermot highlighted so early in the match, their tackling is their #1 strength. There's a pretty ordinary kick, but it found a mark. And that is a shocking handball from Clint Bizzle, because he just put a teammate under pressure, then put another teammate under pressure, and Des Headland just went bang straight to the nooser end.
As they started the game now, Brisbane looking awesome. 39-7-7.
Playing 7 backmen now, the Demons, to left-hand side of screen.
White straight down to Powell, but the kick went 10 metres. Chopped off by Notting. Inside the 50 goes his kick. In front of the pack, it's McRae, who pulls it back, but well wide of the marker behind.
I've been watching Des Headland run around for a couple of minutes now, and what he actually does, White kicks some, the odd goal up in the forward line. That's Shane Woden coughing up one. Maybe one across the eyes there from Pikey, but he actually stays 5 metres off the ball, and so the first disposal out gets to him and he's in space, so he can steady and deliver.
Brad Scott, big improver, 75 metres out, sends it back in yet again. Ellis back on the ground, dropped the mark. Sock off the ground by Whelan. Brown back to Whelan. This is Johnston. Comes out of the defensive 50 to Powell, to Walsh. Runs it up towards the wing. Can go again to Ward. Ward can run at them. He's kicked 3 goals this afternoon, all from this spot. Goes inside the 50. He's got 4. It's the Whelan and Ward show.
Well, Ward was opposed to Tim Notting in the second quarter, and Notting will give you room. They're both talented players. Perhaps Notting holds the edge on pure ability, but he does work hard, young Daniel Ward, and it looks like Notting still got him. And he's not going to go close to him when he goes out onto the wing here, Tim Notting. But he allows Ward free run the other way. And when he gets on the end of it, he'll run hard towards goal.
Nicely worked by the Demons. Started deep into defence, and they took it the length of the ground. 88 plays 55. Ward with 4 now. Powell, White. It's clever. Going back is Scott. Good judgment. Took the mark. Leppich is away. Runs up towards centre half back. Headland. He takes off there.
Good running, Scott.
Yeah, Scott's got it now. This is Chris Scott. Goes to 60 metres from goal. Sends it very long. Some body work done down there. How will the umpire call this? It's going to be a free kick, I think, to Melbourne. Some wrestling. Lamb got it. Woden chips it out. White has it now. He's up towards left half back. Woden's run on. Most of his possessions deep in defence. Under pressure, Ackermanis. Ward trying to get it back to Woden. Shattuck goes wide. Nodding under pressure. Kicks from about 55. That's way off target. Out of bounds on the full.
The difference in the mindset there was Notting had the run inside his forward half, and his direct opponent, Ward, was hard on his hammer. Whereas at the other end, when Ward was running towards goal, Notting wasn't even in frame.
Ellis out of defence. Back to half back. McDonald spoiled Ackermanis. Hacked out of midair by Ward. Getting across his wheel and trapped it brilliantly. It was well played. Uze's hand pass. Got it to Brown. To Johnston. Now he can run at them. Over the top. Powell needs to be quick. Takes on the tackle. A bad policy against Brisbane. A chance for Ward, or rather Walsh. Came back to Vardy. Goes down towards the pocket. Neitz had it fisted away. That was brilliant defence down there by Lepic. Close to the boundary line. Johnston lights it off the boot. He's kicked it.
Well, that is just outstanding skills from Travis Johnson. He was given an opportunity. He probably sussed in his own mind whether he should go the boomerang, but maybe just a little bit far out. But great transition from deep in defence. They brought it forward. This was a bit suspect. Wasn't a great pass, and Neitz brought to ground. But here is the exquisite skills of Travis Johnson on display. Right on the boundary line and splits the uprights.
He had no other option, did he, but to have a go. A lot of people say you've got to hit the top of the square or something like that. When you've got good skills and the full forward has already led, as in Neitz on that case, utilise those skills. Take it on yourself as a senior player. Somebody recognised to do things like that.
Another great bounce. The margin back to 27 points as Melbourne make another run. Ackermanis gets rid of Walsh. Quick hands. Black running down towards half forward. Chips to the leading player. And that leading player was Michael on the forward line. He's marked about 35 metres out. With an angle, he's about 15 metres in from the boundary line.
Set it off really early. Got the drop on Craig Ellis very, very early. And he would probably be in the domain of ratios kicks to handball. He'd give away about 5 handballs for every kick. I don't think he likes kicking the thing.
Important kick again in the context of the game as Melbourne try and claw their way back to the opposite pocket. Lynch juggles it across the line. Melbourne, a free kick for interference and/or out of bounds on the full. Doesn't matter. Lamb goes short. This is Uze. Some indecision. Interesting kick. Made it hard for Ellis. Not so for Notting. Well, Notting came across on the angle. Good concentration there to take that grab nevertheless. It's very good overhead. And Ellis really needed a punch.
Yeah, well, I think the kick was the one that set him up.
Yes.
Notting faded beautifully to the boundary line. He sold the dummy, and as soon as the kick went up in the air, he broke hard. Once again, we see the athletic ability of the likes of Tim Notting for Brisbane come up with a big mark.
Going at his second goal, Tim Notting. It's close. I think it's okay. Nope. Despite the applause he drew from his teammates down there in the square, just to behind. Short one in. Uze. Using him a lot coming out. So too Woden. Most of their creative players generally today deep into defence. Woden, not much on offer. Umpire Goldspink says, hurry up. So Woden decides to run. Kicks it up towards the wing. McDonald did well, punched it down in front. McRae, Black, getting very busy in this term. Comes across to Headland. He's been at 4 goals. Short one, Ashcroft. Just forward of the centre circle to Notting. Now he can run to the 50. Line up. Miscues with the kick. Got it on the sock. It goes down wide of the behind post.
Lynch's got a push in the face there.
He's getting a free kick for it.
Well, there you go. I thought he just blew the whistle for the out of bounds. Yeah, he just got pushed fair in the face there. Watch this. Gives a shove himself. And there's one. That's too high. That's a free kick.
Pretty generous, dude.
You reckon?
Oh, got him in the chest. He pushed out first. If the umpire had been just as generous with the Melbourne player.
He did, but the thing that the Lamb did wrong, he wasn't looking at the ball and he made contact with the ball coming over his head.
Lynch goes for distance. Out towards the 50. Over Headland's head. Up towards the wing. White.
Alistair Lynch, we got it wrong. He kicked it Melbourne's way.
Wheatley, a sense of fair play. Now a chance. Green's away. Running down towards left half forward. 55 metres out. Looks for Neitz. Accommodates a very good lead.
Oh, I tell you what, Justin Leppich is like a goalkeeper at the World Cup here at the moment. He is blaming everyone, and rightly so. It was on the quick break. He is just... He's been skating to his team, mate. Watch this. Watch this. He'll come up on screen here. He just needed the numbers back, and Big Neitz started about 5 metres behind him.
Well, he should start with Lynchy. That's a long way. Shouting the length of the ground. Neitz, meantime, kicks, and kicks pretty well. Melbourne, not to be denied.
Well, he's in his... He has been inspired by the likes of Oliver Kahn and Schmeichel and now Schleppich.
Schleppich.
He is not happy, Big Johnstone.
He's a good man. And look, see, there's the 5 metre start behind, and you can see Lepper is thinking, does he want the centre of the ground? He tries to protect it, and that leaves room out wide, and he is filthy that there was space inside his 50 for Neitz to lead him to.
They got as close as 12 points. Now it's 22 points.
They come home strong in the last quarter too, the D's. We saw that last week.
Up goes McDonald, knocks it down, back towards White, couldn't control it. Headland's got it, edges his way through, hooks it down towards top forward. Lynch comes up on the lead, awkward bounce. Walsh to tidy up, works a little 1-2 with Whelan. Looks across the ground. White is running hard for him, needs to mark it and does. Jeff White, former #1 pick.
Not yet.
To the middle. Another #1 pick got there in time. Headland to knock it away. They were lucky, Melbourne. Walsh a hand pass. Bizzle on the burst. Well, a man free well inside the 50 is Vardy. Into minds. Vardy comes back towards the middle. Oh, gee, that was terrible.
Take off stuff for that.
He chopped it off. McDonald to Notting. They're an unforgiving team. Brisbane too. Generally, they punish you for your mistakes. Pike takes a while. Great chase from Ward. Pike's kick was affected. Ellis stood his ground and took the mark.
50. You can't do that. He's totally out of the contest. He's totally out of the contest. He's jumped, marked the ball, returned to earth, 2 feet on the ground. He cops the old, where you going, son? Slap on the back of the neck.
Well, it's a darn good chase from Daniel Ward, and that's what put the pressure on Martin Pike and affected that turnover. But Melbourne have just got to play a bit smarter than trying to just create. Against this side, you can't create. You've just got to play in straight lines, get the ball to the top of the square, put the pressure on the Brisbane Lions.
There are only small men who are pushing back to help fill up the space for Justin Leppich. If Neitz comes out and plants a knee into the back of somebody, he could take the grab or he could take a body with him.
Bizzle goes towards Neitz. Off hands, down in front. He butters up again. Somehow got it out of there. Plenty of Lions defenders around the football. Eventually, though, Vardy emerges with it. Snaps from 35. He likes it. Here come the Demons.
Well, he broke clear there for 30. Peter Vardy just put the ball under his arm and broke from the pack. And I think it was just the general. Big commander Neitz there, just charging out. Just getting, look, he drew 3 players there, which means that there were 3 spare Melbourne players. Powell at the bottom, got it away, and there he ducked under the pack and ran the corner, and this game has come alive.
Well, their run of goals late in the second term brought a response from the Lions. Will it happen again? They're within 16 points, Melbourne. Interesting game of footy, this one. Knocked down by McDonald. Wide of the centre. Green is foxing for a free kick, not forthcoming.
Knowing what happened in the second quarter, Jared, do they put the shutters up now till 3/4 time with 7 minutes to go, or do Melbourne keep saying we're on a roll let's keep going with it.
I reckon they're on a roll and you just keep going with the momentum while it lasts. I think we're seeing more and more goals come in sequences. They've got an extra player in defence in Whelan. He'll bob up with this ball. Headed at the other end is free for Brisbane.
Well, Whelan decided to hand pass back towards Ackermanis as it turned out. Walsh on his knees goes to Whelan. Now they've got some time and space. Bizzle swings it out wide. They're running okay at the moment. Ward. Uze needs a kind bounce, controlled it pretty well. Over the top he goes. Wheatley, 55 metres out, punishing kick. It's bending back. Wonderful kick. Goal.
And the sequence extends out to 5 now, which is a phenomenal run of goals. And when you look at them, Melbourne's kicked the last 5, then Brisbane got 1, then Melbourne got another, then Brisbane 4 and Melbourne 4. So they are coming in sequences. It's a question of how long Melbourne can keep control of the football. They made the most of that because they're getting extra players at the ball.
Got to get Martin Pike away from half forward now, because Clint Bizzle has taken him out of the game. But not only that, but you think of the last 2 goals at least. Bizzle has been the man who's kicked the ball in from the midfield into the Demons forward line. He's getting plenty of usage there.
And Paul Wheatley, he can kick a long bomb. He may become the new Ox.
Powell out of the middle. The Demons riding their luck. 10 points the margin now. Chris Scott tackled by Robertson. It spills across the boundary line. Under 7 minutes till 3/4 time. The margin was 31 at the major break and 37 at quarter time. But as we said, Melbourne got close in the second quarter. And a string of 8 goals approaching half-time. So the Lions slip away, tossed in. Robertson up in front. He's going to get a free kick, is he? That's Robertson.
That is accidental. He's gone for the ball and he's slipped in. The third man up and he's been clipped.
McDonald making his point. I don't see guys that small.
Jeff White in the middle. He's done well. He's come from defence and pushed forward. They've got to get the ball in quickly to Neitz.
White in the centre square then. Goes down towards the pocket, short of the target. It was Vardy, I think, on the lead, but in front, the tall man.
You can't be too creative against Brisbane. You've just got to play it smart, play it simple, because they do get extra players back and you can't find spaces.
Johnson to Headland. It was McDonald who took the mark then. Working back, Wheatley did well, chance to catch them on the rebound. Vardy is on in the middle. He goes instead to Neitz, almost the mark. Uze gets through. Advantage won't be paid. He's going to pay the mark. Uze kicked the goal. It's coming back to
50.
Neitz, and now 50.
Yeah, and just to explain the rule quickly is Neitz is going to kick a definite goal here and bring them within 1 solitary kick. You can only play on from a free kick. If there's a mark and the ball spills free, you cannot play on a secondary player. That is. That's chat, the 50 metres.
That was the indication, wasn't it? So Neitz, 10 metres out, gets the goal. His 4th.
He's touched it. I reckon he's touched it, has he?
He's getting another kick. I think the other player ran over the mark.
Yeah, he's touched it. I thought he did. I was called. He shanked it and he still got through, but he's touched it on the mark.
Bit of controversy today.
But he came over the mark, so we get another kick because it's 50 metres a game. Or is it 2 goals? Gee, we'll have to wait and find this one out.
He kicks it.
Well, he's only going to wave the flags once.
He's got 4 now in the book.
Well, he only waved the flag once, so it's not a secondary kick for an indiscretion. Let's have a look at the mark.
Our man operating the telestrator tells us that from his view, Doomy did clear it, so I'm not sure what the extra kick's for. They've had 3 goals there. Uze kicked 1, Neitz has kicked a couple.
He's come over. That was 50 metres. He came over.
But he kicked the goal anyway. Why'd he go back and have another shot?
I think he signalled it a touch. He might have got it wrong. And he mightn't have touched it. We're bewildered. I'm confused.
Never argue with the telestrator.
Just putting his stamp on the game, the umpire. 13-11, 13-7. What a thriller at the GABBA. Out of nothing, Melbourne coming hard at the Lions. They've got a challenge on their hands now. White knocks it wide. Brad Scott to Notting. Has a bounce. Headed down towards half forward. Probing kick. Up in front, Michael. Good grab. Plays on, don't know why. Ackermanis looks back towards the middle. Showed too much of it to Powell, who flew over the top. Johnson taken down in a tackle. Black did well. The hand pass charged down by Notting. Bruce. And now Ward on the burst. Through midfield. Kicks inside the 50. Neitz! Oh, that's a very good mark. lunging at the football, and it stayed there. So often it
man.
bounces off the chest in a situation like that.
He's an angry man. We've got the ISO camera. I've asked for this one because this is shaping as the most pivotal matchup out on the field, and Justin Lepage, he's decided to go back and play shoulder to shoulder from the goal square rather than occupy the 5-metre space in front.
Neitz directly in front. A goal here. And against all the odds, I was going to say Melbourne would lead. Well,
2 weeks in a row, Dennis. Well, he's got time left.
yes, he has got time to make things up. Missed that late goal against Essendon. Should have kicked that one. A lot happening down that end of the ground. The margin back to 3 points, though. And Melbourne well within touch now.
It's like money putt.
Yes. Lepage dodged a bullet. Takes out his frustration on the ball as he kicks it long towards midfield. Notting deflects it across. Brand Scott. Copeland. He's on the wing. Kicks it down towards right half forward. Going back with the flight of the ball and taking a clever mark is Black. He's about 75 metres from goal. Just over 4 minutes till three-quarter time. Black goes for distance. Michael will come late. Up he goes. Off hands down in front. Whelan. Bizzle, left half back. Sends play towards the outer side. Plenty of Melbourne players out there. Robertson's away. Not a good kick as it bounces down towards half forward. Evaded White and Wheatley. Third man in was Chris Scott. Wheatley did pretty well. Stifled the hand pass. Weight of numbers, though, tells the story. McGrath tackled up the hand pass from White. Over the football out there is Vardy. Arches the back, slips away. Working in the confines of a telephone box out there. Touched off the boot. Trying to help it on its way was the Melbourne player, Bruce. Over the ball out there was Pike. He's won it. Wrenches it away from a teammate. McGrath gets a hand pass across. Now the run through midfield. McGrath's kick from 60. Looks straight on his feet. He's taken the mark. Lamb was going in the opposite direction. He finished up sitting in the square.
He forces you to actually look for the contact, Lynchy. Let's have a look at it here. He actually occupies the area where the ball's going, and he makes you want to come and grapple with him just by the way he goes for the ball.
Should never have been in that area, though. There was a couple of players on the wing that, rather than finessing and going around and trying to take on players, if they'd have kicked the ball long, they would have got it out of their area. But they turned it over, and importantly, they dragged Jeff White out of that area, and Lynch goes back and kicks a great goal.
A sense of deja vu.
Yeah, it was really important. I think it was Peter Vardy who had the football, and he tried to take on a couple of players and was looking for the short. Now we're seeing Alistair Lynch one out against Chris Lamb, and it was very much to the slaughter. And Alistair Lynch just used all his experience. But Jeff White was down there, but because he
was drawn forward,
opened up as a horseshoe, Jeff White had to come up to the running player, and he was taken out of it.
9 minutes, third term. Will history repeat itself? Well, Brisbane get some late goals, and again put Melbourne down. Scott out of the middle. Very high floating kick. Bizzle been good in this turn.
He just needed to socket that one off the ground that created the turnover for Brisbane's favour about a minute ago.
White to Johnstone. He's away on the wing. Kicks it inside the 50. Neitz doubles back. Leads in the race. Should pick it up and goal. Neitz stumbled. Over the top, Copeland. Vardy. Strong tackle got him down. About 50 metres out from goal. Green's in trouble. Hand passes intended for Neitz. Tackled by Lepage. Did he have a football? In goes Vardy. Picked up by Copeland. Vardy took him down. Whistle. Umpire goal sprinkle. Ball it up. And hasn't the tempo lifted inside the last 2 minutes? The players suddenly realise this game is on the line.
8-man wrestle going on there, and they were just coming from the turnbuckles everywhere.
Over the top, Charman knocks it down. Vardy got it on the boot, and it goes out of bounds off Lepage.
I wonder why players get in the gym and just work relentless hours these days, but that last scrap up was just brawn. Have a look at what's going to happen again now.
Neitz tries to hook it down behind. Charman came over the top and knocked it down. Picked up by Ashcroft. Chris Scott under pressure. Awkward bounce for Walsh over his head. Now an opportunity for McRae falling to the ground to Ashcroft from half back. Kicks it out towards the wing. McInnes does the quince out there, but Ashcroft wasn't trying to kick it out of bounds. It'll be tossed in.
Let's Lepper and Ackermanis now, both in the one quarter.
Like being back on Friday Night Football. Tossed in. Over the top, White. Powell, quick hands, too quick for Ward. Chopped off by Pike, stood his ground, kicked towards half forward. Ellis is up in front, hit hard. Bizzle spills to Whelan. I'll bring it away again. This is Bruce. Down towards half forward with a kick. Big leap at the back from Johnson. Leading back in the race. Brisbane all directions. McGrath's got it. Close to the line. Hugs the line with an effective kick. Needed to be precise coming out, and it was. Ashcroft goes off a step. Shattuck towards the middle. McRae released into space. 45 seconds remaining in the term. Melbourne must hold. White goes back. Courageous efforts at the mark, not paid. Got it out of there. Slapped out of there by Brown. Taken by Ellis. A complete revolution. Bizzle got it to Brown. Kicks it up towards the wing. Wheatley running hard is Uze. Can he get across on the angle? Yes, he can. Green is free. Uze knows that. He's frustrated. Couldn't get back off the mark quick enough, but goes to Robertson right on the 50. And we're down to 18 seconds.
Well, Adem learned from their previous mistakes. He didn't come back into the centre where Brisbane have got their extra players. Here's the Jeff White attempted a mark. He didn't pay it, and he was forced to have to handball very quickly, and they got it away. Whether Russell Robertson can kick it from so wide out, after the siren, we wait and see.
No. Run across the face. Siren sounded as he was about to kick it. Let's go down to Anthony Mithen.
Robert Copeland in some considerable trouble down here with his chest and sternum area. He copped a heavy knock in that brutal stuff that Dermott described in the forward pocket, Melbourne's forward pocket. Just getting to his feet now, but is struggling with his breath at the moment.
And inside 50s for that quarter. The Brisbane Lions went in 16 times and kicked 3 goals, 3 from those entries. Melbourne went in 14 times and kicked 7-1. And David Neitz, well, he had a costly miss there just at the end. Well, it's a 9-point lead to the Brisbane Lions. 14-11, 95. Melbourne, 13-8, 86. Welcome back to the GABBA, and a fantastic game in progress here. The Brisbane Lions only scored 3 goals in that quarter. Melbourne backed up their good second quarter with 7 goals, 1. 13-8, 86. They trail by 9 points. 14-11, 95, the Brisbane Lions. There's another game going on at the moment at Colonial Stadium. St Kilda take on the Kangaroos, 9-2-56. A 27-point lead over the Kangaroos, 8-1-49. Little Stevie Milne, the get-about forward, Jared. He's kicked 4 for the Saints already. Let's go down to the ground now with Anthony Mithen. He's not quite ready. He's just waiting on his contact to come out. Lee Matthews on screen. I'm sure he'll release one of his coaches for Mitho in a second. And there he is, running over now, Lee Matthews. He'll pick him up on the way through in a second. But a 9-point lead here to the Brisbane Lions. And there we have the boys going out to their positions again. Well, they did pile on 7 goals, 1, and David Neitz once again just coughing up on the death there for a very important shot. Anthony Mithen has his man now.
Yes, Gary O'Donnell joins us, and well, Lee said that you wanted a fast start at some stage in the year. You got it, but unable to finish off so far.
Yeah, Melbourne have been really competitive, haven't they? It's an even Steve at the moment. It's the team that wants to work harder in these conditions for the rest of the game. We're going to win the game.
And quick one on Robbie Copeland, caught one in the sternum area.
Yeah, just in the chest somewhere. Hopefully we can get him back on.
Good on you, Gary. Good luck.
Thanks, Smith. Just a correction, that is a 9-point lead to St Kilda at Colonial at the moment. All is in readiness for this final quarter.
Which is a big quarter indeed. Whether Melbourne have expended too much energy getting to this point, who knows? But since quarter time, they have outscored Brisbane by 28 points.
McDonald goes up and thumps it down. Lions by 9 points. Johnston tackled as he got the football. Claimed by Power. No free. Off the deck by Uze towards the outer side. Plenty of time out there for Scott. Lays it off. White's got it. Looks back towards the middle. Chris Scott. Half-distance pass, that was ambitious. Cleared the man it was intended for. Johnston was lurking behind to Wheatley. Now a chance for Green. Could have gone with the right boot. Decides against that. Goes to Robertson. And Robertson, I think, has kicked the goal. He has. Russell Robertson.
Well, That was a good ball to win, a good turnover through the middle of the ground. We'll see it evolve here. And Travis Johnson, he just broke the tackle, came up with a smart kick. And then Wheatley, the new Ox, who's filled in beautifully for the experienced player, he got involved with a handball, and I thought Adem did the right thing. Rather than going onto his non-preferred foot, he found Russell Robertson, who delivered a pretty quick blow for the Demons.
Well, could the Demons be the first team to beat Brisbane up here since round 9, 2001?
They've got to get in front first. That's the hardest point. Ticking. Draw back close, but you've just got to hit the lead.
So the margin 3 points. Wide of the pack. Vardy wheels around. Very high kick down towards half forward. Robertson camped underneath it. Almost the mark too. Tried to pluck it again. Emerging with it. Brad Scott spins it out of trouble. Claimed as he kicked it. Wanders up towards the wing. Ackermanis with 4 goals to his name. Again that centering kick. Not precise. Headland though. Gets away. Runs to 50. Going at his 5th. It's an awkward looking kick. But I think it's effective, or is it? No, didn't miss by much.
4-point lead to the Brisbane Lions now in the early stages of this final quarter. You just know that Ackermanis is itching to turn something on here. They've just got to clamber down on him, because if he gets the ball in midfield, he'll tuck it under his arm as the game is worn on, and he'll try and break a line or two, Jason Ackermanis.
96 plays 92. Woden goes for distance.
Good kick.
Really good kick. 60 metres and precise. Whelan's got it. Left half back. Uze running to space. Just lobbed into that area. It seems Melbourne are running better than Brisbane at the moment. Uze trying to pinpoint the ball. Well done by White. Reaching over the top of Wheatley. Knocked it away. Shattuck's got the crumb. Takes a long time. Kicks down towards half forward. Michael from behind. And behind him, Woden. And it goes out of bounds.
Well, if you thought you were confused, so were we when we saw this. Now, let's see if it was touched. Telestrator replay says it wasn't, but he did have 2 kicks. And this is back to the first one. I'm just trying to explain it. The umpire did come in and indicate that he thought it was touched. And that's why he got the extra kick. Clearly, he didn't touch it, but the umpire gave the signal.
And Chris Scott came over the line and just ran over by a couple of metres, so awarded him another kick.
It's a great spoil by Mel Michael. The closing pace on Paul Wheatley really did. Let's have a look at the umpire. There he is. He indicates it was touched, but nevertheless, they got it right in the finish.
Bounce on the 50. Michael thumps at Goldwood. Oh, the Melbourne players there. They almost made a mess of it. Hart's kick was stifled off the boot. Woden did well. Got it away. Kick out of defence by Uze up towards the wing. Taken by Ward. Got the hand pass away. Within the grasp. Robertson goes down towards half forward. And there's going to be a free kick to Vardy for a push in the back. Goes against McGrath.
And just on that goal kicking, you said they got it right in the finish, but it cost them an extra 40 seconds. And who knows, in a game like this, that could be the difference between a win and a loss.
So Peter Vardy, he's made a few mistakes today, but he's been energetic on the forward line. That's interesting.
It's an enthralling battle going on there between Leppich and Neitz. There's numbers in front of him too. Scott's peeled off. Johnson's peeled off to help.
Centering kick. Leppich did well. Punched it down in front. Power in position A. Kicks it out very wide. Lamb battles with Lynch. Close to the boundary line. Lamb played it pretty well. Back to Green. Kicks inside the 50 yet again.
He's had a big quarter and a bit. Started the pretty quiet up to half time, and I reckon the stats will show that his work rate. He gave Melbourne, he cost them a goal with a pretty ordinary chip kick in that 3rd quarter. But since half-time, this is his 10th disposal, so he has really come into the game.
Gee, wasn't it well done by Neitz too? Not only did he allow Uzo to take the mark, but he just protected him from getting caved in.
His career high against Brisbane, 29 possessions. No more important, I'd suggest, than this kick. It looks good. Melbourne are in front.
And that's got to be a Freudian slip from you, Dermot, calling him Uzo.
Did I?
Well, I'm not sure what you were doing last night, but it is clearly a Freudian slip. But Uzo
I apologise.
has gone back and kicked a goal without the coke. He did it with Neitz, and what a mix.
Look at that, David Neitz holding off Justin Leppich. Some would say there's cause for a that to be viewed as a shepherd.
So Brisbane now looking for a win, looking to defend a wonderful record on this ground. This will confuse the statisticians in years to come as a Melbourne home game. They'll look in the book and wonder what the heck happened as the ball comes down inside the 50. Wonderful mark by Bizzle.
He's worked himself into it. So he can't play on from the mark. He's worked himself into it with Big Pikey just dominant in the first quarter. Bizzle went out to him. He's made the odd error, but gee, he's been brave and he's run off and he's created for his teammates. He's played a big part in this comeback today.
Bizzle from half-back. Gets it to Whelan on the bounce. Didn't take it cleanly. Now he's got a problem. Shattuck camped over the football. Whelan got a boot on it. Likewise, Lynch back towards half-foot for Brisbane. In trouble, Bizzle. Just got away. Feeds it back to White. White. Good kick. Walsh. Defensive side of the wing decides to take him on. Walsh breaks away. A probing kick towards half-forward. Scott stretches. And Chris Scott, former best and fairest with the Lions, has marked at half-back in the shadows. Back to the wing. McDonald. The runner cruising past. Uses him. McRae chased hard. Good work by Ward. He's done that a few times, and again there he affected the kick. It goes wide out towards right half-forward. Bizzle lunged at it. It bounces out of bounds. So the Brisbane Lions have won 18 straight home games, and that record now in danger because of these dogged demons. White missed it. Whelan didn't. Comes away from the congestion. Short Uze. Down on one knee. Settles. Back to Whelan. Runners wide. Great chance here. Goes towards the wing. Back it comes from Lamb. Green. Pops it down towards the pocket. And the mark is held by Neitz.
Gets another opportunity to kick a goal at a crucial moment. History tells us he missed one last week. And this one all important.
They're running out of runners through the middle of the ground, Brisbane. I wonder what they've got on the bench. We'll find out from Mytho soon.
Might have been Ellis who got the hand pass out on the outer side. It was good run, though, by several Melbourne players. And this to finish it. And he's kicked accurately. What a comeback.
Well, this is a brilliant victory for Melbourne, a sensational victory. I'll give it enough already, but this is a brilliant comeback, as you said, and if they do go on to have a victory, I think we'll look back and say it has, for Brisbane, had its origins in a tight tussle against Carlton. I think they've been on the verge of a loss in recent weeks, but their ability has just allowed them to get over the line, but right now they've got the job in front of them.
So the Lions sagging on the ropes at the moment.
Great work here. The preparatory work there to just get it around Lepage and make him look elsewhere. Fantastic work there from the goal square.
Can Melbourne finish them off? 16-8, 14-12. Up by 8 points. The next goal, vital. Sharman goes up, knocked it forward. Pike helped the ball on its way. This is Notting. 55 metres out. The kick wanders down towards the pocket. Lynch was up. Split the pack across the line for a behind as we go down to Anthony Mithen.
Yeah, Jim, nothing doing in terms of the Brisbane bench. Copeland's off with that sternum injury. Bradshaw with a calf. And Mel Michael and Beau McDonald, the other two, sitting on the bench for Brisbane. And I don't want to get Melbourne fans too excited, but the afternoon Zephyrs come in and seems to be favouring their end for this last quarter.
They've got no run on the bench, Brisbane. They'll probably go through this last quarter without a change.
White should have punched. Sharman almost the mark in front, not paid. Shattuck got it across to Scott. High ball back inside their forward 50 again. Lamb was up, knocked it away. Ward in trouble. Very slow Wadden. Picked up by Wheeler. Well, he's umpiring the game as he tackled there, Akamas. He was talking as he was wrestling Whelan down.
He was very fortunate there. Well, he was unfortunate, Jason Akamas, not to get given the free kick.
Absolutely.
Can't be written off. Brisbane have got a lot of talented players that haven't had a kick for a half.
Bounce in the pocket. Helped across the line. Brisbane creep closer.
Push Luke Howe forward. Akamanis is also forward. But what's working for Melbourne is that extra man that is just floating around Alistair Lynch and preventing him from just dropping back and taking the strong mark as he's done throughout his term up here in Brisbane.
Bizzle wide to Woden. Short to Whelan. Lets it go. Some indecision by two Melbourne players. A pitch between Whelan and Bruce, taken by Brad Scott, who's tackled. And the ball goes out of bounds. We'll have a boundary throw in. Right on the wing.
The top 5 disposal getters on the ground. Notting Headland leading, and Bizzle 19 at centre half back.
White, nothing much with that. Black had it, lost it. McRae, Brad Scott, straight to Ward. Now chance for the Demons. A goal here would be a step in the right direction. A step towards 4 points. Ellis again kicks inside the 50, and Neitz. Neitz has taken the mark. Robertson goes back to the square, calling for the football, but Neitz, I think, has done the right thing. He's going to go back and take a shot from just inside the 50.
Lepper's given the Ollie Khan again. Watch him here on the chase after he can't get to it. And
David Neitz going at number 6. Kicks from 49 metres out. And Brisbane have got a job to do now.
Well, this is staggering. This is absolutely staggering. 15 goals since Brisbane only 6, but they had 8 goals, 3 on the board by the quarter-time mark themselves. And I've never seen a team beaten up so badly in the opening quarter as Melbourne. Sometimes you can see things and that might happen. There could be light at the end of the tunnel. There was none at quarter-time for Melbourne.
So the margin 12 points. There's the time remaining.
2 loose men in defence for Melbourne, right-hand side of screen, in their back line.
What a gritty performance by the Demons. McDonald goes up, thumps it down. Too early to celebrate, though. Nodding, looping hand pass to no one in particular. Ackermanis. That was the potential look-away hand pass as he got it across to Shattuck. Came unglued, though. Bruce. Short. Walsh is away. Draws a man.
They're running
White.
away with it now.
Walsh runs through the wing. Kicks inside the 50. Guess who?
Mel Michael, take 2. Justin Lappage has been removed from the task, and Neitz made a beautiful lead up the middle, and just when he got about 10-15 paces up, he just bends it out to the right and gives a bit of width to the kick.
So they have changed goalkeepers from Lepage to Schmeichel.
And Lepper's gone forward. He's done that on other occasions to great effect, but I don't think they've got the run through the middle, Brisbane.
Well, he's inspired on the forward line, David Neitz. And should he kick this, it's a long way back for the Lions. But still, plenty of time. It's simply the way the game's being played. Neitz. Oh, that is as straight as you could wish. Straight through the middle. Neitz gets another one. Melbourne pull away.
Well, the run was always going to be Melbourne's big chance. They were so disappointing in the first quarter because they didn't attack the ball and they didn't run. And yet since quarter time, they have just put their heads down and ignored the climactic conditions and just gone single-mindedly about dragging back the lead and then going ahead. And it's going to be pretty hard to see them get beaten now. But David Neitz is led from the front. Let's go to Anthony Mitton on the boundary line.
Yeah, another one to the injury list for Brisbane. Jamie Sharman has come off. He got a knock to the lung. He's been spitting blood.
7 goals to David Neitz. White goes up, knocks it down, comes back to him from McGrath. He's tackled. McGrath gets the crumb. Jams it on the boot. Kicks inside the 50. Oh, wonderful mark. Lamb going back with a flight of it. He bounced as he landed. They're feeling no pain at the moment, Melbourne. There's Bizzle. Now something happened in the Shepherd, and Lepage will get a free kick. It's going against Lamb.
Look, he didn't win the ball, but he's hurt the free kick somewhere. We'll get another look at it in a second, but he just makes things happen. Justin Lepage. You have a look at the way both teams are going about. Let's have a look at it here. Watch the left arm. And he's milked it. He's milked it.
Gee whiz. Lepage takes advantage of that, or does he? He has. Some life in Brisbane.
How ironic that Justin Lepage has acted for a free kick in the same week that his coach Lee Matthews has called for penalties against bloke doing exactly that. That was an incredibly bad decision by the umpire.
He's given Clint Bisley a squirt in the face with a bottle there.
That was an absolute shocker from the umpire.
He's been sucked into it.
Huge decision that in the context of this game.
It is ironic that Lee Matthews comes out and says players that act for free kicks should be penalised, and yet Justin Leppich is the best actor in the business.
He makes things happen, Lep, doesn't he? Now, just finding the targets, Melbourne this quarter, 83% of their disposals have been to a man. Brisbane have dropped away to 67.
Johnston got it out. This is Vardy. Lays it back. Brown under pressure. Kicks it very high towards the wing. Powell needs to come. Does. Got it on the ground. Only as far as half, though. Wasting no time. Goes down towards half forward. Black. Bothered by the sun. Although I'm not sure it caused that. Short to Headland. Amazing how games can turn. Headland will line up for his fifth.
Sorry, Dennis. Simon Black, 10 possessions at half-time. He's only added another 7 since then. And you've also got Luke Power in the middle. He's barely sniffed it after half-time. If these guys can start finding a little bit of it, they'll come back in against Melbourne.
Headland kicks, cramps, but gets 6 points. What a finish.
Well, this is an exciting game, but I reckon the umpire at the other end, when he views the tape, is going to be expecting a one-way ride to somewhere in the far north, Dermot, because if Melbourne do go down, they will look, I think rightly so, at an important decision that has turned the tide and turned the momentum.
See that lazy bounce there. I reckon they're a victim of their own climate here in Brisbane. They look like they're wilting. And even though they've kicked the last 2 goals, they've been pretty fortunate. Cramp. Simple bounce that doesn't come back to Simon Black. They still look very tired.
They haven't had the rotation through the bench, so their players have had to work pretty hard.
Melbourne by 6 points. McRae out the middle. Kicks it down towards half forward. Coming up to mid at Lynch. Robbed of it by Lamb. Well played, young man. Gets the hand pass away to Johnston. He's on the wing. Kicks inside the 50. Coming up to mid at Neitz. Awkward bounce. Scott will be first back. Camped over the football. Drew a crowd. Vardy picked his pocket. Lays it off to Robertson under pressure. Kicks. Goal umpire goes a long way. He's kicked it behind, I fancy. He has 7 points the lead now.
Go on and say it. It's a handy point.
It would have been a more handy goal. But he was under real pressure. This is a good steal from Vardy, who's lifted his work rate. And he does it well. Smart play. Draws the opponent. Knows he's there. And good play there by Chris Johnson.
Johnson it is who kicks it into Michael.
This will tell us how Brisbane are going to go in. This play here, whether they just go kick mark, or they get a bit of run through the midfield.
McGrath, meters in the clear, takes off a couple of bounces. Runs to the centre square alongside the centre circle. Probing kick inside the 50. Leppich over the top, nodding. Well done, Shattuck. Open goal. Free kick. Melbourne's coming back to Melbourne.
That's 50. He heard the whistle.
He certainly did. This game has had everything.
I tell you what, this game is going to go down to the wire now. You saw how big the pack was with Melbourne in their defence, and Melbourne now, have a look at all the demons around here. Melbourne are stacking their back line, and they've played one man in defence for most of the day. Now they've got 2 or 3, which means that Brisbane up around the midfield are going to win it, and they're going to keep pumping it in.
There's Lamb.
Wonder if was it the square-up decision?
Seen a few surplus goals this afternoon, haven't we? As Lamb kicks it down inside the 50. Neitz came hard, fisted away. Brown gets a hand pass off. Leoncelli, 52 metres out, goes long. It's bending back, touch and go. It's go. Goal to Melbourne.
Great move there by the coaching staff. He came on to replace Powell 1 minute ago, and there he got his favourite position to shoot from goal. You often see him from about this area, Dermot, go around. Just gets a little bit of rotation when he kicks the ball, and he gets that extra distance. There he goes, bang, rotates around, through the ball and straight through the middle. And hasn't Chris Lamb had an eventful last quarter, but he looks a player of the future.
Well, they're trading goals and still plenty of time. Margin 13 points. McDonald charges in. They fought a draw. Vardy, Johnstone, he's been handy. Kicks inside the 50 yet again. Under the ball, Wheatley. Up comes Neitz, taken by White. Hand passes over his head. In goes Black. Ricochets across to Scott on his knees. Well done by Michael initially. Taken front on by Robertson. The umpire lets them play. Bruce hand passes back outside the 50. Leoncelli concedes a little more. Uze goes off his step. Going back is Robertson. Big fist from behind. Brisbane got it on the ground. Black a hand pass. Chris Scott runs up to centre half back. Still Scott goes for distance now. Lynch on the outer side launches himself. Lamb fisted away. Uze the meat in the sandwich. Lamb comes again. He should have been the meat in the sandwich, and the ball goes out of bounds on the full.
You saw those 5 Brisbane players in just inside defensive 50. What they need to do is run the ball forward, but they're too tired. They're just bombing it away. They got 5-on-1, yet they bomb away and kick to Lynch on a 1-on-1 at centre half forward.
Lynch to the 50. Ellis goes back. Takes the mark.
They're dead. They can't run, Brisbane.
Frustration etched on the face of Lee Matthews as they're thwarted again. Still ample time, as I said, just under 7 minutes. Woden across the ground. Walsh deep in his own defensive area.
Trying to get some extra run. Pikey has come onto the ground for Alistair Lynch.
Johnston, good last term. Spears the pass up towards the middle. Well-weighted kick. Got there just in the nick of time to Bizzle.
He's probably been the balancing act today, Clint Bisley. He's not best on ground, but he was the difference. He was able to cut Pikey out of it, and he's had that many kicks that went forward to the centre.
Certainly taking plenty of time. Getting to hurry up now. Bizzle from half back. Drives it low and hard towards half forward. Bruce could have been pushed in the back there. He's going to get the free kick. We're in front.
Neil Danaher knows that the game is not won. Short one.
Picked up on the half volley by Johnston. Confronted by Scott. Comes back. The mark is taken by Wheatley. His introduction had a lot to do with Melbourne getting back into this. Very handy player this afternoon.
He kicks an enormous ball, and I think Dermott, as good an option would be to just kick the ball long and get the ball into their forward line deep over the top of the flooding defence.
Under 6 minutes to go. Melbourne by 13 points. Here's Walsh. That's after Brisbane led by 38 points at the 7-minute mark of the second term. So Melbourne experts in coming from behind, not always to win. If you think back to their last game, here's Johnston again, bobbing up.
Good option to get it in the hands of Johnston. He's had 22, 23 possessions today, and I can't remember him not hitting a target.
Johnston just chips inside the 50, intended for Robertson. Shattuck knocked it away. Uze goes after it, taken by Green. Down towards full forward, it floats offline. Plenty of Lions back there. Michael knocked it straight to Neitz, who's got 7. Hit the post. Wow. They lead by 14 points.
He did have Russell Robertson on his inside, but it's easy for us to say he's there. It's a question of whether Neitz heard or saw him with so much pressure, particularly given the closeness of the score.
Well, that's a panic kick.
White.
Brisbane just do not ever kick straight down the middle of the ground from their kicking, so that's a panic kick.
This is Ward. Very handy early. And they run to the pump. Booted 4 goals. Comes out wide. Green. There's a short one on to Vardy, who implores Green to kick him the football. He decides against it. That's almost resignation now.
Yeah. They put up the shutters, Brisbane.
Green.
1-on-1.
70 metres out. Sets it very high. Neitz and Michael off hands. Fell in front. Chance for Melbourne. Leoncelli. One already in this term. Like a soccer goalkeeper there. Michael deflects it across the line.
Looks like Melbourne are just trying to milk the clock at the moment for Brisbane to put some pressure on them, make them play football where they can get it off them. They've got to kick a goal.
Spinning out of trouble, into more trouble. McGrath against the flow. Uze did pretty well in that tight situation to Bruce. Needs an accurate kick to sew it up. It's an accurate kick. It's sewn up.
18 goals since quarter time, Jared Healy. And the Brisbane Lions, well, they've managed only 8.
Yeah, it's been a disappointing, as disappointing it has been for Brisbane. It's been exciting for Melbourne, who really have just been sensational since quarter time. You can't really describe it in any other term. They were poor, very poor up until quarter time. The tackles have turned right around, Dermot. You highlighted it. They didn't really contest a lot up through the first quarter, but since then they have just been superb. Tackles this quarter, Melbourne 9, Brisbane 6, but their willingness to run in when the fatigue is telling the mind to stop running has just been fantastic, and they've really shown a courageous, been courageous in their victory.
Johnstone's kick does exactly what it was intended to do and finds the boundary. So the winning run at home about to end, it would seem, unless they can find something miraculous.
Staggering though, I haven't seen a team so badly physically beaten up by the opposition as Melbourne in the first quarter today, yet they've turned it around.
Leoncelli, good shepherd by Bruce, releases Johnstone, kicks inside the 50. Neitz, a rare error. Good tackle though. White got a hand pass away to Michael. Little chip to halfback. Brad Scott. McRae running through the centre, kicking to half forward. Headland really sighted in this turn. Makes a clever mark. Just get the feeling he's a man they could have used more. Headland over the top. Ackermanis takes the mark 55 metres out. 3 minutes to go.
See if Ackermanis has stopped running. He's just giving little leads. He's not running through the lines.
Miscued slightly with a kick. It wanders towards the opposite pocket. Knocked down by Ellis. Headland back into the fray. Black knocks it across the boundary line. Intended, I'm sure, to lay it down into the path of Headland. Didn't come off. Alistair Lynch looks on. He can't do anything. 2:44 to go. Clock stopped with Melbourne 131, Brisbane 110. Remarkable game in its way. McDonald did pretty well. Down goes McRae. Is that holding footy? No. Ball up, and this is a good result for Melbourne.
The hardball gets stat tells the story. In the first quarter, Melbourne 5, Brisbane 10. Currently it reads Melbourne 29, Brisbane 20.
Since that first quarter time.
Yep.
Melbourne started the day as 5-1 underdogs. White hooked it down behind. Whelan. Again, the numbers tell the story. Brown to Leoncelli. Leoncelli hugs the boundary with the kick. All the time is being consumed. It trickles across the line. 2:05 to go. This will be a memorable victory for a club that's had plenty of them over the years. Interesting, Neil Danaher, his third game as Melbourne coach. Was a win here at the GABBA. Craig Smoker, a former West Perth player, but had 4 goals in that one. Things can change.
Haven't won here since 98, the Demons.
Ward got it to Johnston. Locked his last quarter. And Uzes kicks inside the 50. Vardy goes back, had it knocked away. White went over the top of it. And this now really heralds the end of the game as the clock runs on another ball up.
I think Neil Danaher has to be really congratulated for this. So, Dennis, at the start of the year when the administration came to him and said, we want to take a home game up here, he embraced it. He didn't use it as an excuse. Start of the day, we heard him with Anthony Mithun talking about the heat. He said it was magnificent. Everybody in Melbourne would love to be here. His players were here. He didn't use it as a crutch or as an excuse. And he has led this club to an even more sweet victory because they're going to pick up $300 grand for the home game as it is.
The Scots combine. Chris's long kick downwards, full forward. Leppich couldn't juggle the mark. And against the behind post, out of bounds now. Lamb, I think, wanting out of bounds on the full. And not a bad case that he's pleading either. Watch it again. Yes, that's out of bounds on the full. Still, we've got a boundary throw in. McDonald, clean possession. Straight to the man in the square, barely 15. Woden takes the mark inside the last minute. Well, a lot of people said they were making a mistake. A home game at the GABBA, what are you doing? Well, they've turned it on its head.
They might apply for relocation.
Here's Vardy from the Woden kick. Dying seconds of this one. Heroic victory. Vardy around the outer side. Goes towards half forward. Robertson missed it. Crawling after it, McGrath. Robertson grabs it. Hard against the boundary line. Tries to pull it back. Out of bounds on the full. Brisbane ball. Michael wants to go immediately. They'll stand for naught though. We're down to 15 seconds now. McRae up to the wing. Ashcroft looks back towards the middle. Taken by Scott. Brad Scott. Man on the opposite side of the ground. That's Notting. Or is it Shattuck? Either one of the two. Shattuck has got it. 60 metres out. Long kick. Offline. There's the siren. What a comeback and what a win. Celebrations all round as Melbourne win 2011 to 16-14.
What a brilliant game for the D's. David Neitz just led from the front. 7 goals up forward, 9 marks. Most of them contested, and he is with Anthony Mithen.
For the home ground here. It's a beauty, isn't it?
Fantastic. Come up here, a bit of good weather, and also a really good performance. So, fantastic. And it's a really special win from this group who really want to be involved in finals time.
What was said at quarter time, because Dermot commented you look like a beaten side.
Yeah, we were just a bit flat early, but we just play as contest by contest, and that's all you can do in this day and age. And turned our way, and the boys took advantage.
7 goals to you. You've recaptured some of that early season form. It's been you've had some tough weeks in there, but splendid effort today.
Yeah, that's right. No, a couple of hard weeks throughout the middle bit of the season, but hopefully this is going the right way.
Any mention of Swarter beforehand amongst the players?
Oh, look, it was a big week with Swarter going and all that sort of stuff, so pretty emotional sort of a week, and just great that the boys could win without the big fella, so it's just fantastic.
Well, you looked out here as though you didn't miss him too much, and you certainly filled his hole. Well done, David.
Great, thanks, mate.
Thanks there, Mitho. A 21-point lead, and just repeating David Neitz's stats for a stay-at-home full forward. 15 possessions at full forward, 7 goals, 9 marks.
Yeah, it's a big, huge performance. 5 contested marks and 4 uncontested marks. But importantly, he kicked goals when they counted. But I thought the turnaround, you could have wrapped it up in one man. He's there hugging Clint Bizzle. He was chopped up early in the piece. He came back, and since quarter time, I thought he was outstanding. Jeff White really good all day. Matthew Whelan did a job, as did Wheatley. Travis Johnson really quiet up until half-time, but worked his way in, as did Uze. And when their class players through the middle of the ground, Brad Green included, when they started to find the footy, they really started to put some pressure on Brisbane in the scoreboard. And Wayne, I think also, Dermot, just kept finding the ball and created. Vardy, how'd you see his game? A bit of good and a bit of bad. But
yeah, I thought he started off slow. I mean, Brisbane absolutely mauled them, physically bashed them up in the first quarter, Melbourne. They just got on top of them and just pounded them into the turf. And Peter Vardy's not going to play well when that happens, but he fought his way back into it. Inside 50s for the game. Brisbane 61, Melbourne 54. But at the end of the day, it's a 21-point here to the Demons. 20-11, 131. Brisbane Lions 16-14, 110. We'll be back after the break.